You've exceeded your bandwidth.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, October 25th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1080.
This is No Agenda.
Celebrating 11 years together, and we never had a fight. And broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's one thing I won't be doing for Halloween, and that's wearing blackface. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, how disappointing. Your annual moment to shine.
What does they normally do?
Well, you normally put on blackface for Halloween. I can't believe you're not going to do that this year.
And there goes the Zephyr right on time.
Woo! Hey, here we are, everybody. 11 years of the best podcast in the universe. Congratulations. Oh. Congratulations, John.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Congratulations to everybody who has worked on this show, and that's pretty much everybody.
We still have a lot of number of people who started listening to the show from the beginning.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah, more than there should be.
Then they're still alive, which is the cool thing. Yeah, but we, the producers of the show, we don't have listeners, we have producers. This is your celebration. You have done this. You have taken us from a 20-minute show with no jingles, no nonsense, no commercials, no agenda, to 3 hours twice a week on Thursday, filled with media deconstruction. That's quite a path we've taken.
Yes, we didn't start off that way, that's for sure.
No. And I have to say, John...
This was discussed, I should mention, on the Grimerica show.
I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard it yet. You discussed what? The evolution of the No Agenda show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what was the conclusion?
That we started with number one and we're at 1080.
Yeah. And I, today, am so happy, John, more now than ever in our 11-year history, that you're the one that opens up all the mail. I just want to say, and I continue to be appreciative of you doing that.
Yeah. So you had some story to tell. Your mail's not coming through or something?
No. We have been, since Monday... the entire city of Austin and Austin proper, with many of the outlying areas, have been under a mandatory water boil.
Oh yeah, your water
ordinance. Yeah, but that's a little more impactful than you'd first think.
But the likes of you just drink Perrier with Grey Poupon.
Yeah, it's not so much about me. It's about the economic impact to the city is quite severe. Monday night, so it happened Monday the afternoon. They put the which means you cannot drink the water. You cannot use it for cooking. You can't use it for washing produce. There's also a ban on there's also water conservation regulations in place. And we went out to dinner with Ellen and Jesse. This Tina's daughter who lives in Austin, her boyfriend. And already Monday night, it was just a small restaurant on the east side, there was stuff that you could not get. Said, we can't do anything with vegetables, so here's what we have on the menu. There are many restaurants closed now, just closed.
Because they can't wash their vegetables?
Yeah, you can't cook. You can't take the risk, because this is a contamination risk, that someone gets sick in your restaurant or would just get sick in your restaurant, whether it was your fault or not. No one can take that risk, so they're just shutting it down. People have no paychecks. There's no Starbucks. Beer.
Well, look at it as a benefit.
But here's the problem. Our Mayor Adler, is a douchebag. And I know he was already on my crap list for his, just letting scooters drive on the sidewalk, homeless people sleeping everywhere. But something went wrong, and they're not telling us the whole story, because at no point has anyone said your water is unsafe. No, because they opened up the dams because of the water. It's been raining here for the past 2 weeks. This is not the first time that they've opened up the dams, and this is a lower Colorado.
It rains there a lot.
Yes, it's not the first time this has happened. So something went wrong, and apparently all this silt clogged up the works. And from what I understand now, although no one has admitted it, they do press conferences, and I've been really trying, and we have no press in Austin. I guess the Austin Statesman was bought by some whatever outfit. There's no one reporting on anything. There's people rewriting press releases. There's no reporting in Austin. There was a pressure issue. That's the only thing they said, and that's why we have a mandatory water boil. What I understand now not from Austin officials or any reporting here is perhaps we had an influx of silt which clogged up the works. They lost pressure. If the pipes go below, I think it's 20 pounds per square inches.
And backs up.
Then, worse, then even little crack somewhere along the line, contamination could come in. I guess it's coliform, and that
coliform. Well, actually,
is bad.
Actually,
you know about this stuff, right? You've worked in areas about this, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay.
But coliform is not really the problem. Coliform is an aspect of the test mechanism. In other words, if you have coliform, that means you got problems.
Right.
But it's not like you're going to die from coliform poisoning.
Okay.
But if you have coliform, that means there's sewage in the line.
Oh, poop. Yes. Well, that would go right in.
It's an element of sewage,
yes.
Pretty much.
But see, they're not telling us what happened. And last year, 2017, the citizens of Austin elected for a $311 million bond to create this fourth water plant, which is really only our second because they closed two. It's supposed to do 100 million gallons a day by itself. And everything's failing. We're using more water than we're producing. The silt has clogged everything up. What is silt exactly? And since when does it clog up stuff?
Well, you know what silt is.
Not real. Is it just like deposits, like sandy, salty deposits on the bottom?
It's the fine particles of dirt.
Right. And that can
it forms like it makes a very nice mud. And so when it accumulates, it becomes a muddy-like substance, which it is because it's silt.
Yeah, and that could then clog up the water purification.
I guess it can. It must be. These people wouldn't be buffaloing you.
They keep talking about silt.
They're public servants. Probably, I would guess. I don't know. They're probably Democrats, which means that they're
probably
extremely honest people.
Yeah, they're very honest, and they have
really
an election.
Know how to run things.
Yeah, and they have an election coming up in 12 days. But here's one theory that I'll just throw out there because I thought it was kind of interesting. Because in the past couple of months, when I've been learning how to wake surf with a former New York banker in Lake Austin, I noticed we used to have all kinds of green stuff in the water, and you'd be in the water and like, what's that against my leg? I don't like that in general. So, and it was a lot. It was a lot. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, it's just tons of this stuff everywhere, and it was clogging up engines and all kinds of stuff happening because of it. And it's just not a nice thing. And people swim and water ski there, etc. So the geniuses came up with the idea of stocking Lake Austin with grass carp. And the last time I went wake surfing, I remember saying, wow, there's none of this stuff in the water anymore. And we
got bit by a fish.
No, we were at the pier having a beer, and some kids were throwing like French fries in the water, and these enormous carp, which turns out, I've been researching it, about 40, 50 pounds these things weigh. They've eaten everything. They've eaten all the green. They've eaten all the other fish. That's all that's left. And I think maybe when they opened the dam, this water just rushed through Lake Austin. There's nothing left to stop the silt or whatever they expected, and it just, just blew everything downstream. Maybe that's what happened. But at any rate, we're going to be under this boil watch until the weekend, maybe longer. It could be a full week.
Could be a month.
Yeah, this is Austin, man. This is not some shithole country.
Yeah, you're not in Senegal.
But no. But now that you mentioned there could be poop in the water, we're getting closer to San Francisco. We got everything. Yeah. We got the homeless. We got the electric scooters.
You got poop in your water.
Got poop in the water.
Fantastic.
Woohoo!
That's exactly what coliform testing would indicate.
Yeah. And no one's questioning anything. All you hear is jokes.
Well, we were doing them here.
Like you just said, ha ha ha. You just drink Perrier all day. You'd be amazed how often you interact with water on a daily basis, and what the automatic movements you have of, I'll just splash some water and drink a little from my hand after brushing my teeth. Oops. There's a lot of different and how
shouldn't do that anyway.
Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of different ways you interact with water, and it's like, damn, I appreciate it a little bit more though.
Well, this just sounds like a disaster.
It's an economic disaster for sure. They said yesterday, if it doesn't rain, we may be able to lift the ban the beginning of the weekend. It rained all day yesterday, so it's going to go through the weekend. It's going to go into next week. I don't know. I'd like
to know what it's like a valve is stuck open or something.
Something went wrong and they're not admitting it. That's the only. I mean, this has happened before.
You got no media there anymore, so what are you going to do? You never find out that probably the news, the guys on television don't have enough oomph to be able to find out what's going on, and nobody's got any technical expertise.
Nope.
All they have to do is find some sewage treatment guy who's an engineer and who knows, because they gossip amongst themselves like every industry does, and they tell you what's happening, but they can't even find one of those guys, I guess.
Now, I think
we must have one in the audience.
Oh, we have several who I've been I was tweeting with, and that's how I understood the pressure issue, because that was one line in some interview somewhere. The guy said, "Well, we got a pressure issue," and then I understood. Okay, so there's real contamination danger if you have a pressure issue, and at the same time, it's also just conserve water because something is broken somewhere along the line. Something went wrong. It's just not it. Anyway, so yes, we drink Perrier and champagne all day. We don't care about the water crisis. But there's no restaurants are closing. Restaurants, bars. How about we have craft breweries? Forget about it. They can't brew their beer. All that stuff is closed.
Well, they still have beer in the tank.
Yeah, but that'll be gone.
Yes, it will. Ship in your water.
Yeah.
From France.
Anyway, so it's interesting living under this disaster. Finally, something bad happened. Really bad.
Yeah, I've heard. I was reading about it. I was hoping you had some information. You got nothing.
Well, I got you what I think is going on, which is more than what they're reporting here. And no one's interested. There's just no one's interested, John. They don't care. I got my bottled water.
It's not Trump's fault.
Not yet. Not yet.
They're working on it.
I wouldn't put it past Mayor Adler to come up with something like that. All right. Now, I was, again, you're still tweeting a lot more than you used to, which is pretty entertaining because you show up in my feed a lot.
Yeah. And I need more followers.
You got plenty of followers.
I got none.
Are you okay, man? I mean, it's hard when you lose a gig sometimes. You kind of fall into a black hole.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine, man.
I'm fine, man.
I'm okay. Just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it.
You tweeted you thought that the caravan was the biggest story of the moment.
Yeah, and then a bunch of weirdos. There's a lot of weirdos on Twitter. I'm probably going to have to quit it eventually because the number of guys is like, yeah, felt like crap, and they did. And you look, this guy with one follower. And he obviously just joined last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And maybe he's got 50 accounts, and the one follower is this, they follow each other, these people.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they're just in there to make commentary that is useless and doesn't help.
And also, if you want more followers.
By the way, being on Twitter a lot, you're right. I probably tweet a third more than I used to. And I'm blocking 10x more than you.
I was just going to say, if you want followers, quit blocking people.
I'm blogging like a madman.
Okay, it's not healthy. You know this, right? That Twitter can become a little unhealthy activity.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, you should listen to this OTG
so the other
segment.
thing, by the way, I look at these. Here's the dilemma. So you got some jerk off. He says something stupid, and you look. I'm not going to respond. The guy's got 2 followers, and he just joined last week. He's got a picture of Farrah Fawcett as his
avatar.
Yeah. And so I'm looking, and then I think follows you. And I'm thinking, geez, if I block this guy, I lose another follower. So I mute him.
Oh, mute. Yes, that's the way to go. Because the follower number is very important to you. Does that keep your checkmark status? Does Jack send you an email from time to time and say, hey, keep your numbers up, otherwise we'll take away your checkmark?
The other thing is I didn't notice this because I've been muting. You can mute entire conversation. It says mute conversation. You get these arguments going bad, man. Yeah. And the worst part is you're in an argument where you're not even in the argument. You're just CC'd. You're like one of the guys at the ats. So I don't want to be listening to these two guys going at each other. You can hit mute conversation, takes the whole thing off your stream. It's fantastic.
What a discovery.
Yeah. I'm learning a lot.
Yes, I can tell.
So I think the big news actually is not the caravan, but I think it's the speed.
Yes, I'm very confused by this because they seem to sometimes move 500 miles a day, according to news reports, and the same recycled drone footage of the bridge and all these tight shots of people sitting down, and that's when they're interviewed because apparently then they're not moving, they're just hanging out, and this reeks of wag the dog type television production. With some professional elements, but otherwise, who the hell knows what I'm looking at? It doesn't look like a caravan. I mean, I don't know. It could be stock footage from Europe for all I know. I really don't know what this is. The only person I've seen on site in the tightest shot ever was Jorge Ramos from Univision. He did CNN and he did, I think he did Frat Boy Tucker. We need a nickname for him. That's the only one I could come up with.
Frat Boy Tucker?
Frat Boy Tucker.
I like that nickname.
Yeah, Frat Boy Tucker.
He looks totally like a frat boy.
By the way, I saw an interview. He did an interview because he's promoting his book. He did an interview with Adam Carolla. And if you can find this, it's pretty easy to YouTube. I have to say, first of all, I've never been a fan of Adam Carolla. I liked him very much. I thought he was very funny and very astute, very intelligent in this interview. Tucker, on the other hand, Frat Boy Tucker, he reminds me of Christopher Buckley. You know, Christopher Buckley was married to my cousin, Lucy. That's William F. Buckley's junior son.
Yeah.
And this was the guy who famously said, "Oh, you with your internet. No one's going to want to read the news on their computer."
Yeah, another insightful observation from the Buckley family.
And he 20 years later said, "Well, you were right about that." But that's exactly it. Frat Boy Tucker has this. It's a milieu thing from Washington, and he's very likable, but it's this milieu thing where within 3 sentences is always like, and that's the meaning of life. Come on, it's easy. Don't you understand? Everyone sees this. It always ends that way. And like he has figured it all out, and just the other people don't know what it is yet. And it really is apparent in this interview. So it's worth watching. Anyway, What was I talking about? Oh, yes.
We're talking about...
Right, and Jorge Ramos. Well, let me finish the Jorge Ramos.
The close shot of Ramos would be because everybody in Latin America recognizes him, and so they will get behind him and jump up and down and put, ears on his head and all that sort of thing. So they have to keep it tight.
Yeah, but
that's my guess.
But that's not showing you a caravan. That's just showing him amidst a few would look like professional refugee tents.
Yeah.
With a couple people walking by. So I just don't know what to believe. It's gone from 2.5 to 7 to 3 to 14,000 now. Come on, show me this for real. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not so sure. And the whole thing has to be a Republican GOP, some strategist, Banyan, Roger Stone. I don't know. Someone came up with that, and it was perfect. It's perfect. The timing's perfect. They got people being shuttled around on flatbeds. It makes nothing but sense. And in the cynical world that I live in, the minute these phony baloney clock boy type dildo bombs show up, I'm like, oh, okay, that's your answer. Okay, Democrats, very funny. That is the way I see it today.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to argue on any of these points. It could be the dildos were sent around by the Democrats, and the caravan could be by the Republicans. You don't know.
Let me tell you what I do know. It's very unusual, in 11 years, very unusual. You get immediate pictures of the package and the bomb and close-ups with the clock still operational and the wires attached. This is very unusual.
It does. If you cut the early pictures, you do have Debbie Wasserman Schultz's address.
Yes, spelled incorrectly.
Yeah.
Florida.
That whole thing is just too well done. Let's go on. Let's talk about the bombs with starting with bombs.
One sec. if let's just say this is some left-wing Democrat, whatever, Soros, I don't care who came up with the idea. Don't you think that if you and I were strategizing, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send these bombs. We're going to make them look this way. And here's how we're actually going to put stamps on them. But we won't actually mail them. We'll mail a couple because we want those to get stopped by the Secret Service. But we really got to make sure it looks like it's coming from some Republican nut job. I know we'll misspell the Jewess's name because that's how they think. And we'll do a typo on Florida. Then it totally looks like it's coming from some redneck crazy guy Republican.
Reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable. Let's go with Bombs PBS rundown.
Okay. Yeah.
Federal agents are working tonight to get to the bottom of a rash of bombs up and down the East Coast. The targets are mainly prominent Democrats as well as CNN, and locations range from New York
Stop
to
right
Florida.
there. Stop. This is the part of the story that kind of...
Yeah, which is a lie.
And everybody said it. There was never a bomb sent to CNN. They sent one to Brennan at CNN, and that's not where he works. He works at MSNBC. So there were, if you want to count that, but they make it sound as though CNN was some sort of a target.
Oh,
and all the stories say this.
Oh, did you see the Cuomo kid and Don Lemon outside, and they're doing back and forth, hugging each other? Stay safe, brother. It's good. It's tough being a journalist. They totally put that shoe on like it was made for them. No, it was for Brennan.
Anyway, so let's finish that. But they actually have that part of that CNN vacating the place. Nobody else did that, by the way, but CNN did. They vacated the premises and they'll do the reporting from outside.
If you and I were Zucker, we would do the same thing. You play this up. This is fantastic. This is ratings.
Targets are mainly prominent Democrats as well as CNN, and locations range from New York to Florida. Amna Nawaz begins our coverage.
After a string of explosive devices were sent to two former Democratic presidents, senior officials, and a high-profile party donor, President Trump today pledged action. He promised the full resources of the government to bring to justice those responsible for what he called despicable acts.
In these times, we have to unify. We have to come together and send one very clear, strong, unmistakable message that acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
This read is so flat. I'm so disappointed in this. This sounds so insincere. Is there no one telling him to play this up a bit?
I have the long version of this, I think he had to do it this way to kind of twist the story to kind of blame the Democrats.
Well, it's lame.
You try this. You skip to this. Mm-hmm. This is the Trump plea. This is buck 57 hour 1 minute 57 seconds. Trump plea regarding bombs. This is this whole spiel. It's done in that same.
All right, let's analyze it. Let's analyze it.
The federal government is conducting an aggressive investigation, and we will find those responsible, and we will bring them to justice, hopefully very quickly. Any acts or threats of political violence are an attack on our democracy itself. No nation can succeed that tolerates violence or the threat of violence as a method of political intimidation, coercion, or control. We all know that. Such conduct must be fiercely opposed and firmly prosecuted.
He'll say something and then this is one of his persuasion things. He says something and then he backs himself up with being the chorus, like a Greek chorus saying, we all know that. I think that donuts are good. We all know that. We all like donuts.
Right.
Donuts with coffee is even better. We all love coffee.
Or one of these. What is also true is donuts are fantastic.
Yeah.
It's another way of doing it.
And also, before I forget, he's giving a speech in front. This is one of his rallies, so it's a little different than his rally style.
Which is where I would have expected him to do a little better than this.
coercion, or control. We all know that. Such conduct must be fiercely opposed and firmly prosecuted. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. It'll happen. More broadly, there's much we can do to bring our nation together. For example, those engaged in the political arena must stop treating political opponents as being morally defective. Have to do that.
Have to do that. Have to say that that's what they're doing to me. Have to do it.
The language of moral condemnation and destructive routine, these are arguments and disagreements that have to stop. No one should carelessly compare political opponents to historical villains.
Ooh, stop calling me a Nazi.
Which is done often.
Hitler.
It's done all the time. Got to stop. We should not mob people in public spaces or destroy public property.
You know, you're right. You're so right. I think you got that figured out.
There is one way to settle our disagreements. It's called peacefully at the ballot box. That's what we want.
Yeah. So he basically, his way of calming everybody down was saying, "Hey, Democrats, stop calling us names."
Yeah.
That is a persuasive technique for sure.
And he's doing it with all his little tricks.
All of them in there. All of them in there.
Commentaries, a little mumbling under the breath, which is actually a sales pitch.
But he doesn't seem freaked out about it, so I guess he knows it's bogative as well.
Yeah, no, he's not freaked out at all. I was watching his body language recently, and I noticed something interesting. When he is like irked or really bothered by something, he crosses his arms. And if you look at any of his commentary about Saudi Arabia, he's sitting in his chair. Normally, he's like in his chair, leaning forward. He's not behind the desk. He's in the chair, leaning forward, so it doesn't look like he's fat. But in this case, all the Saudi Arabia chit chat, his arms are crossed and tight, and he's giving his opinions about the Saudi Arabia situation, and he's very annoyed. I don't think he's annoyed unless he has his arms crossed. Anyway, keep an eye out for that.
Ted Kaczynski, of course, is rolling around in his cell there, going like, "What an idiot! Nothing exploded. This makes no sense." I'm referring to the Unabomber, and yes. I looked at the. There's a presumption here that I'd just like to question for a moment. I look at the list of people. We have Democrats and one intelligence person, that being Brennan. So this is clearly the demi-bomber. I think that would be the appropriate name, since we're never going to find out who did this. Could it be that this is not related to the elections? Could it be that this is related to Saudi Arabia being very pissed off about all of mainly Democrats and John Brennan all calling for suspension or severing of ties between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia?
I don't know that Brennan did that.
No, we played pieces of the long interview.
Well, he's like, maybe. I don't remember him specifically saying that. Anyway, let's play the rest of this, and I have a couple of follow-up clips that we can drop out of the PBS rundown. I don't think we need it.
Okay. So what are we playing the rest of then?
The rest of the Trump thing? Is there any more?
Oh, no, that was it. That was done. That was the end of it.
Then we have, I had to get this. This was the bomber. I got both Fran Townsend. We know her.
Yes, Spook.
The Spook. But we have, because I've been missing him for, I don't know, we haven't heard a clip from Jeff Pegues.
The Poop Man.
For quite some time.
But yet, here he is. Hey, all right, everybody, let's see if I can make it.
Multiple law enforcement sources.
Damn, I nailed it. Multiple law enforcement sources.
Multiple law enforcement sources say one of the bombs consisted of PVC tubing and used a digital clock connected to a small battery as a possible trigger device. Pyrotechnic powder was the explosive, and in order to...
Pyrotechnic powder? You mean it was like a flash pot?
it was like the stuff that you put in firecrackers.
Yeah, flash pot.
Keep it light.
Magnesium.
Yeah.
Weight glass was used as shrapnel. Investigators think whoever put the device together was trying to keep the weight down so that it could be put in a mailbox without having to appear at a post office for mailing. Ron Hosko is a former assistant director of the FBI. What does it say that they didn't explode?
Well, it may say that they were intercepted prior to their ability to explode. It may say that they were never capable of exploding, even though they may have had black powder in them.
The 6 packages, all consisting of a large manila envelope with 6 American Forever flag stamps, will now be analyzed at the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. Investigators will deconstruct them, looking to trace the origin of the wiring and the other components to see where and when they may have been purchased and by whom. On the package itself, they'll look for fingerprints and potentially the suspect's DNA if the stamps were licked. As they're gathering this information, all these investigators, how does that information filter up to the top?
What markings are on the outside or on the inside of a piece of end cap to see who's the manufacturer? Where is that product distributed? Is it unique in some way? Looking at the tape, looking at end cuts on the tape. If I tear something off and a piece of that tape is left at the subject at my house, they may be able to match ends.
Tonight,
Bullshit.
the FBI and police in Los Angeles are swarming the Central Postal Facility there. We're told investigators have discovered another suspicious package addressed to Congresswoman Maxine Waters. If it turns out to be real, this would be the second addressed to Waters and the 7th package overall.
Yeah, we have.
Jeff.
Yeah, we haven't seen a single statement about the actual bomb itself, which is interesting. I'd like to know, did it work? Was it real? What was in it? What was the mechanism? I mean,
there was a guy on Twitter who's a bomb guy. And he said, I could have to go back and get his tweets, but he said this was bull crap because he says pipe bombs, for one thing, never have wires coming out of both sides. It's idiotic.
Right.
And he went on and on about how these bombs are phony. He thought they were all just
props.
Well,
I did hunt around because most of these did not reach there, and this is also reported very by omission, very poorly. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they never got those bombs. They never got the envelopes. They were stopped at the central processing, which the Secret Service handles. And there was a pretty interesting interview on NPR, and there were about this screening of packages for people under federal protection by the Secret Service, and there was a little thing in here that I thought was interesting at the end.
Well, so the common practice of the Secret Service is to screen mail at an off-site location, typically, and this has been going on for the last 30, 35 years, where they have available a number of different sensors that detect biosensors, radiation, and other known gases. And in this case, if it was a pipe bomb, it would have been easily detected in an X-ray machine or a trace detection machine on site.
That's just what I was going to ask you, if you could give us a picture of what that mail sorting process is like. I mean, when Secret Service agents sift through the daily mail, how do they handle it in case it could explode or be toxic? You mentioned an X-ray machine. What else?
Well, typically, if it's determined that it's of risk, if it's a device that's suspicious, they have containers. They also have robots that will come in and actually look at the device remotely, so that there's not a human involved in the examination process. So it's very detailed. The Secret Service actually goes through exercises where their own try to place devices that might be at risk and test the mail operation 24/7.
That's what it sounds like to me. This looks exactly like some test thing they wanted to send through. Let's see if they catch it.
I like the way we pointed this out before, but the use of the word device
yes,
seems to be very common.
Device.
Before we go to Fran, let's go. I forgot, we do have a second half of that Trump plea. This is where he is continuing on this spiel in front of the large audience. And he kind of really starts twisting it even more toward the Democrats.
As part of a larger national effort to bridge our divides and bring people together, the media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories. Have to do it.
Have to do it.
Have to do it. Have to do it.
They've got to stop.
Got to stop.
Bring people together. We're just 13 days away from a very, very important election. It's an election of monumental, just if you look at it, monumental importance, isn't it? Wouldn't you say monumental importance? There are dramatic differences between our two political parties, that we know. It is essential for democracy to draw a sharp contrast between the two different platforms put before the American people. And we have a chance to do that right now in many states and on November 6th. We need more, not less, debate about policy issues in our country. But what we cannot do is let our disagreements about matters of policy tear us apart as a country. Can't do that. We must accept the verdicts of elections and remember that America's greatest achievements have always been those endeavors we embarked on together. We have had great, great achievements.
Yeah, see, he could have easily have said the same thing, but done it in a way that got the crowd really excited, and no one's excited. That's what's wrong with the picture. It's just wrong. No, he's not. That's what you need for everybody.
Well, he just worked it into his routine. It's not part. I mean, I've come to the conclusion that his polished routine, which is what he does normally, where he's, conversational rather than sounds like he's reading, which is what he's doing here. I just don't think he's had time to incorporate. This is all new.
Right. It's like you're giving a comedian and a new lines. Like, I can't.
If you we used to watch.
Yet.
We used to go to there's a place locally that on Tuesday nights would have a lot of the famous local comedians would come out. And Robin Williams was there all the time. Dana Carvey, all these different characters, and they'd come out to practice their material. And Carvey, I think, less so, but Robin Williams would always come out with a yellow notepad, and he'd just read material from the notepad and to get the response. And it was not smooth. It was not like it's talking. It was like, let me try this joke, and then he'd start reading this. Basically, reading jokes, even though they were more complicated. So I think that's what's going on here.
By the way, just thinking from a strategy standpoint, it would probably be smarter, instead. Well, what we're seeing now is all the bomb is all Trump's fault, because he said, the enemy of the people, so that's why it was sent to CNN. And he's
they're really making that's a stretch, the CNN thing.
Yeah, but they're pulling all the stops out. It would be much smarter from a mission perspective to blame this on the Saudis. That's what everybody wants. That's the big news we'll get to in a minute. Everyone wants to
if they can blame it on the Russians.
No. The Russians, it's now Saudis. Everything's switched to that.
No, that could be.
Well, let's get to Fran. Because I like Fran.
Okay, let's get to Fran. But before we get to Fran, I do have a little short snippet I want you to play. It's very short. It's only 9 seconds. But I wanted to see how fast you are on the draw.
Okay.
You should be able to figure it out by the name of the clip.
Yes.
My highest duty, as you know, as president, is to
protect and defend and uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, Mr. President.
Keep America safe. That's what we do.
That's not what you do.
That's what we do.
No, hold on. He gets a firm and solid douchebag. Lies. He lies. I hate that. I hate that with a passion. I hate that.
Fran Townsend served as Homeland Security Advisor to President George W. Bush. She is now Senior National Security Analyst for CBS News. They knew what they were doing enough to make a bomb, Fran, but certainly not in a very sophisticated way.
That's right. What we're hearing from law enforcement is it's a crude device. It would have been lethal if opened and detonated, but
it's not a standard recipe. And so what we're hearing from law enforcement sources is this is an individual. He didn't go on the internet and just pull down a standard Al-Qaeda recipe, which we've seen before. So he's left his own signature, right? There's something unique about the way this has been put together, which will be very helpful to investigators.
But the notion that it's PVC and not metal, and so potentially could get through a metal detector is a little frightening.
That's right. This is somebody who thought about it. Listen, that's also the reason you have all the return addresses being Debbie Wasserman Schultz to all these Democratic leaders, thinking that perhaps it wouldn't be screened because it was familiar. They would have expected something from her.
You think an arrest happens quickly in a case like this?
I do. I think there'll be lots of breaks. This is somebody who's made plenty of mistakes. The wrong address to Eric Holder, misspelling John Brennan's name. John Brennan doesn't work at CNN. He works at NBC. And so this is somebody who's made plenty of mistakes along the way. All of the outside packages are identical. Six stamps, 2 tiers, printed labels. This is somebody who's likely left a lot of clues.
Odd, but still scary.
Yeah.
Fran Townsend, thank you very much.
So scary.
Amateur. An amateur, I tell you. Amateur.
I think it was, the possibility? It was Debbie Wasserman Schultz all along.
Well, to be honest, and I know you tweeted about it, but they really should have gone to her first and said, let me just check out what's going on. I mean, that just because she's Debbie Wasserman Schultz doesn't absolve her from any possible...
she could be the bomber.
Wrong. Well, it came from her.
That's what it says.
Regardless, I think your point is valid. They should at least have said, hey, there was... I don't know that anyone went to her right away.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, this whole thing is, I don't think they're going to find anybody. I think this will just, unless they can pin it on the Saudis and therefore Trump somehow, they could get him in there.
They may have a patsy already lined up.
Could be.
I mean, it's possible. It's when somebody pointed out that when the bomb thing first cropped up, because I had mentioned it 6 weeks ago.
Yes, it was to the day, wasn't it?
That there is a 6-week cycle underway once again.
Right.
And to the day is when the bombing thing came up, which indicates if it's an FBI deal, that means they probably have some sucker already in custody who was a suspect.
Yeah.
And another one of these guys who's really dumb. And, and he's going to be the guy they're going to pin it on.
Yeah.
And they probably had him actually do the bombs. I mean, it's possible. Let me show you how to do these bombs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
First you wear these gloves and you don't touch anything. And by the way, I thought Jeff Pegues, when he said they can check and see whether the stamps were licked. When's the last time
you licked a stamp?
Ever bought a stamp that you could lick?
No, I just bought stamps the other day.
Yeah.
You don't. I don't have envelopes that you lick anymore.
Yeah. So there's no stamps to lick. There hasn't been for I don't know how many years. By the way, I went to the post office to buy stamps because they got some really cool stamps out.
I got the Elvis stamps.
The Elvis stamps are cool. The airmail stamps are the ones that are going fast. If you find those, they're done in an old-fashioned style, and they're actually engraved, and they will last longer.
Oh,
they won't fade like that Elvis stamp will.
I sent my my IRS check to the Treasury.
Yeah.
And I only had one stamp left, and it was a snake. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to put this on there. Someone's going to open this up that asshole putting a snake stamp on. Audit! I just had that feeling.
Yeah, I would. If I was, well.
That's why I got the Elvis stamp.
Yeah, Elvis is better.
Much better.
But I was told, because I know this, they're already talking about making, because, they've scammed the U.S. Postal Service and the American public with the way they're doing nobody else in the world has to do this, but they have to prepay all their retirement benefits. And so they're talking about the dollar being the cost of a stamp and maybe within the next year.
Oh.
Just say, screw it, we're just going to jack it up to $1.
I was at the post office to send a box off to Christina, and it was only one person, one woman was working there. And so I'm chatting her up because, I don't get out of the house much. So I want some human interaction. I'm asking, and I lay this on, man, you guys really, you always begin with that. You guys really got screwed, man, with that pre-funding of your pensions, and they bitch about you. Yeah. So immediately the post office worker loves you because they all know it. Like, yeah, that's right. And I said, is this your uniform? And she said, Yeah, we just got new uniforms. They suck balls. They're so horrible. So they don't fit right. And they do look horrible. I mean, the U.S. Postal, have a look at them. The shirts are no longer meant to be tucked in. They just hang out. They got, it's like really.
You're trying to ruin the Postal Service government, guys.
I say, you guys got a general. You got a general in charge of you.
This has a lot to do with the Federal Express
FedEx and
United Parcel
DHL.
to get this business.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, my post woman said, I asked her about the stamp increases. I said, should I just be stocking up on these forever stamps because they're forever? She says, yeah, you should buy as many as you can because when the price goes up, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be hard to buy stamps. It's so expensive.
I'm going to ask for the stamps that don't get canceled when they go through the machine. I'd like those stamps, please. Like the ones that got sent to Brennan at CNN. So anyways, back to the original premise of, this caravan, very convenient, perfect Republican talking point. This is why I don't belong to parties, because this is the asshole stuff that goes on in these outfits. People become just horrible. And so I think this whole caravan thing is exaggerated at best. And there's just a lot of it's imagery, we're not really getting much else. We're just not. And then you have maybe this as the counterbalance, like, these guys are unhinged, they're crazy, you got to be against Trump and everybody he supports. And so then we have this, this caravan news, which is, it's really, here's Pompeo. Here's Pompeo setting the stage as to what we will and will not allow.
The migrant caravan is violating Mexico's sovereignty, laws, and immigration procedures. President Trump will not stand for this to happen to the United States. To those who say this is a hard-hearted stance, let's not forget that the United States is a historically generous nation when it comes to immigration. Where 1 million people per year are granted permanent legal status here in the United States. Over 33 million people total are currently here.
I always love the 33 meme.
Who have immigrated to this country legally. To those who want to come here legally.
Now, let's just stop for 1 second. Just so we all understand, if you're of the opinion these are people who are being threatened with their lives are being threatened at home, they are fleeing this, and Mexico will not have them, they're fleeing, and they're here for asylum, okay, we have a procedure for that. You must go to a port of entry. You may sit there for a month as well, but that's the procedure, not just going to the border and saying, I request asylum. There are multiple ports you can go to. There's ways to do it. A lot easier ways than what they're trying to do right now.
Legal immigration is the surest way to obtain the better life you're looking for here in the United States of America. From a security standpoint, there is no proper accounting of who these individuals in the caravan are, and this poses an unacceptable security risk to the United States. Moreover, many of these people are ripe targets for human traffickers and others who would exploit them. We don't want that to happen. I've spoken twice in the last 2 days to my counterpart, Foreign Secretary Videgaray. We trust that Mexico's leaders know what the best steps are to resolve this situation, and we urge timely action on their part. The United States also has a message for those who are currently part of this caravan or any caravan which follows. You will not be successful at getting into the United States illegally, no matter what. I repeat, the caravan will not cross our southern border illegally under any circumstances. If you seek to come here, go through the normal refugee process. If you apply for refugee status, a permanent solution is possible in Mexico or in a third country. But I can tell you with certainty, we are determined.
Did you hear that? So you can also request your asylum status in Mexico. Let me just play that back a second.
Process. If you apply for refugee status, a permanent solution is possible in Mexico or in a third country. But I can tell you with
you can apply for asylum when you're in Mexico.
Certainty, we are determined that illegal entry into the United States from this caravan will not be possible.
And just to show you how this is being abused or used for its only purpose, today, what's her name, Martha McCullum, who's on before Frat Boy Tucker? Is that Martha? Martha McCullum? Martha?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. So Martha is going to be doing her show from the border with DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. I mean, come on. that is nothing but political. This caravan is the southern tip of Mexico.
She wants to get down to where Juarez or San Antonio for some food. I don't know what she wants to get out of the office.
But then you read, we know Jenny Jardin. We know Jenny.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Jenny is a technology reporter. We know her professionally. I've met with her several times. Here's what she puts on Twitter. That's right. I'm doing Jenny's voice to a T, by the way. That's right, terrified white people. The brown zombies are 1,000 miles from the southern border, and they're coming to mow your lawns, wash your cars, harvest your crops, pack your pork, raise your kids, mop your floors, vacuum your office, and pay taxes. Time to flip out. Like, that is such a tone-deaf, color-blind thing to say. Well, and it is also extremely racist.
Well, it's very this is the old. Well, if you remember, I think it was on The View when one of the women on there, one of the left wingers, which Jenny would be, says, "Who's going to clean our toilets?"
Yeah.
This is like unbelievable. It's like that's what we're dealing with. We're just going to get a bunch of immigrants.
You know who used to clean the toilets?
They're good for. They're good for cleaning the toilets.
Yeah, it used to be the Irish. The Irish are doing that kind of stuff. This, when I hear a Jenny Jardin like this, I mean, there's this elitist attitude that we should be really happy these people want to come in to do the jobs we don't want to do. And I have no problem cleaning my own toilet. I actually find it somewhat therapeutic in an odd way. It's placing anyone who is of a certain color into a certain position. And by hiring someone to do that, to pack your pork, you can then say, I help out the brown people. Look, I'm putting them on the ladder to success in America. Aren't I good?
By putting them on the ladder to the roof.
Yes, there's something really disturbing about it.
Yeah, it is. It's always been, and it flows so easily from.
So easily, and they don't even understand what
clean my toilet.
Jeez, you were asking who's helping these people out or what is going on, and I have seen Actually, there's one video that it has subtitles because it's just a YouTube video from someone on their phone. Some lady going through her town saying, well, this is what they left because you want to know where's the poop in the trash? Well, it's in that town in Mexico. And they said they just left half-eaten food rations. None of the clothes that people collected and put out for the caravanners to use. None of them took any of that. So, that's not exactly the way you'd expect people to behave if they're on their way to freedom. But there's something else that's going on.
Coming up, why the UN
this is BBC.
Refugee Agency has increased its presence to help the migrant caravan that's heading towards the US from Central America.
We think that every state should take any measure that they consider necessary to defend their border. But what we really appeal is to open the space to the people, to open their territory, to open the asylum system, and to the people that really are in need of protection.
So the UN High Commission on Asylum, the actual High Commission for refugees is helping this caravan and saying you should let them in. The globalists appear to be behind this, not just our own globalists in America, but the ones at the United Nations, the very New World Order global no nations, no borders headquarters.
So are you stunned by this?
I think it should be discussed.
Nobody's going to discuss it because the globalists won't allow it. Let's face it, the globalists have taken over the media.
Yes.
Well, and now this brought up a point that I thought this was Amy Goodman. This was one of the most interesting clips, and it's a two-parter because the second part's funny too, and I would like to deconstruct it a little bit.
Okay.
But the first part, this is Trump. She goes nuts about this. This is like the big scandal on the left.
Trump is a nationalist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got some clips for that, too. All right, good. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Hit it.
Yeah,
At a Houston, Texas campaign rally for Republican Senator Ted Cruz Monday evening, President Trump declared that he's a nationalist.
Oh, no.
A globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well, frankly, not caring about our country so much. And you know what? We can't have that. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
Trump's comments Monday align with his populist America First rhetoric through the label of nationalist is more often associated with extreme right-wing ideology and fascist regimes. Questioned by reporters Tuesday, Trump denied the term nationalist was used to describe racist movements, saying he was proud to use it and that it, quote, should be brought back.
So I thought that she was aghast at this because we can't even use the word because the word implies all kinds of other things.
Oh, yeah.
And
no, actually, this is what it is. A white nationalist is like saying white bread. You got bread by itself, nationalist by itself. But the moment you put something else in front of it, which is what we've heard for the past 3 years, really, if you take the campaigning into account, the anchor of the word nationalist is now anchored into these people's heads for sure as white nationalist.
Yeah.
It's a word trick.
Which then also goes to white supremacist.
Of course. Hitler.
Oh, they like to do this sort of thing. Now, this second part of this clip, it's got some usage I don't like, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
And then it's also going to reveal that Pence believes that Venezuela's behind which I said on a couple of shows ago, is behind the caravan of madness.
Proud to use it and that it, quote, should be brought back. The wife of white supremacist leader Richard Spencer.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're playing the wrong clip.
Well, it's number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This is the wrong series. This is my fault.
Okay.
This I wanted to...
Do you have the other clip you were just talking about?
No. I want to play this clip first because I just lost track of my pairings. Sorry.
Like a fine wine with some duck.
So we just talked about white nationalism, white supremacy, white,
Yeah, I'm not done with that. So you transitioning away.
It up. But this clip. Now, so she just played that clip that you heard.
I see what it is. Yes.
What does she transition into right away? There's no other story. She goes right from the end of the Trump clip with her quote.
Yep.
Yes, right to this. And listen to this. To me is subtle, creepy propaganda.
Proud to use it and that it, quote, should be brought back. The wife of white supremacist leader Richard Spencer has accused him of regularly physically and emotionally abusing her during their marriage, according to divorce filings.
That is a very dirty trick. Very dirty trick. Well, hold on. This was on, this is the Cuomo kid. Just so you can laugh. Steve Cortez, who I think is brown, by the way. He's a Republican. They're talking, he's like Anna Navarro's on. I don't have any of her. But just listen to him saying, hey, this is just a nationalist, does not mean Nazi or white supremacist. Listen to what the Cuomo kid evokes.
Steve, is that just the straight truth? Trump is a nationalist, and with all that word carries.
No, he is a nationalist. I am too, but you don't understand what it does carry. When you try to compare American nationalism to Nazis, for example, you're incredibly mistaken because the Nazis, their perverted nationalism was about racial purity. It was about blood and soil. American nationalism, which, by the way, defeated Nazism. American nationalism is about shared ideals. It's about a constitution.
That's not
nationalism. It has nothing to do with race, for example. Yes, it is. Well, by the way, you don't get, Chris, to just decide. Nobody made you CEO of the English language.
You know better than George Orwell?
That is nationalism to me.
Do you know better than George Orwell?
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Do you know better than he?
Yes, yeah.
Well, then why does he see a difference?
Yes,
hey, man, don't you know who George Orwell is? I mean, what? Now George Orwell determines the word nationalist?
Oh, God.
And that's what it's like, Trump is like 1984, man. He's like the pigs. It's the pigs, man. I have a long clip, but we can stop it whenever we want, but it's Nicole Wallace and her band of people on MSNBC yesterday. I cut all kinds of unimportant stuff out, and it's still just minutes of just insanity, unhinged stuff. Would you like to play along?
Oh, yeah.
Today, he doubled down on being a nationalist.
He is. And the tweets you put up earlier from Robert Costa are right. This is a little bit of an evolution for him. This is a phrase that he...
Or devolution, I mean.
Perhaps.
Devolution.
A phrase that at first he didn't really want to embrace. And a key moment was actually after the Access Hollywood tape. I think some of us who covered the campaign would remember it. So a week or so later, he gave a speech in Florida, I believe. And it was the one where he was a real screed against globalist institutions. That afterwards, there was a lot of criticism that it felt anti-Semitic. And that sort of...
It felt anti-Semitic.
Became the tone that he followed through the stretch run of the campaign.
Says the non-Jew.
And has now kept since. He's obviously withdrawn from a number of international agreements. It is very much a, America first, but more than that. Just sort of like, America first and last. It's only going to be self-interests, not perhaps honoring what country's role around the world has been. Now, in the Oval Office just now, we saw him splitting hairs a little bit. Like he tried to suggest that he wasn't even aware of the negative connotations of that term.
Because he doesn't know anything about history. Peter Baker, do you think he knows that some of the great nationalists of all time include Adolf Hitler? I mean, every dictator pleaded for their constituents, if you can even call them that, their subjects in the case of Idi Amin and others.
Well, we just brought in Idi Amin. This is new. Idi Amin. Was he a nationalist?
Not that I know of.
He was just a dictator run by the CIA, wasn't he?
Well, that's one excuse.
But to bring in Idi Amin is new.
To sort of hearken to their nationalist impulses.
Well, I think there's a reason why other presidents don't use the phrase nationalist to describe themselves. They use a safer term, patriot, right? Patriotism is something that mostly people can agree on as safe politically, is a more unifying word than nationalist.
No. I disagree. Don't you think the word patriot has also been completely tainted down into racist? To say I'm a patriot?
It can be. I think you can just say that. I think it's logical to say that.
I don't think you can still stand up and say I'm a patriot because you'll hear, oh yeah, Republican.
Obviously, as you say, is freighted through history. But we've seen with this president before that he doesn't care what history says. If he likes the phrase,
does he not care, Peter Baker, or does he not know? Do you think
he doesn't know?
You think he has any idea of the history of World War II?
No.
And Nazism? You think it came from a call for nationalism?
Well, let's look at the phrase, for instance, America First, which we just talked about. I mean, America First, he might not have known at first, was associated with the pre-World War II isolationists and Nazi sympathizers. But clearly he learned that at some point along the way.
They just can't stop. It's like he doesn't know the history of World War II. He doesn't know the history of Hitler. He doesn't know the history. He doesn't know history. He doesn't know history.
It didn't matter to him because it would convey what he wants to convey. Similarly with the phrase enemy of the people, right? He uses that against some of us. May not have known at first that was used.
Notice how they just slipped that in? He uses that against some of us? No, fake news, different.
By Stalin as part of the mass murders, but certainly by now must know that. Somebody must have told him that. He must have read that someplace. It doesn't matter because it conveys what he wants to convey. He doesn't care if history, conveys a meaning with these words, or maybe he does, and it's okay with him because the message he's trying to get out is one that says he, more than anybody else, is standing up for the United States, and it resonates with the crowd last night in Houston. I was there. They loved it. They booed the word globalist. They cheered the word nationalist. When he said, I'm a nationalist, they chanted, USA, USA. This is a galvanizing language for his core supporters going into a midterm election 2 weeks from now.
I watched an History Channel to know that they cheered at Hitler, too. I mean nationalism.
They cheered at Hitler. No. Don't you know they cheered at Hitler? They all went, Heil!
Isn't divorced from the capacity to cheer a crowd. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it American. And it doesn't mean that Donald Trump isn't totally ignorant of the history of the word nationalism.
Donald Trump doesn't read books.
Point.
What?
She goes on and she keeps hounding this one point. He's ignorant. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like a moron. He doesn't know what nationalism means.
Oh,
yeah,
wait.
Sure he does.
No, it gets better.
Isn't divorced from the capacity to cheer a crowd. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it American. And it doesn't mean that Donald Trump isn't totally ignorant of the history of the word nationalism.
Donald Trump doesn't read books. I don't think any of this stems...
He doesn't read books, not even his own.
It's from Donald Trump studying the history of Nazism or Charles Lindbergh or any of...
Charles Lindbergh? Why are we bringing Charles Lindbergh in now? This is also new.
I have no idea. I mean, Lindbergh was a Nazi sympathizer.
Yes.
Before World War II in the mid-30s. So maybe that's the reason they're bringing him in. I don't know. Just like a callback that nobody cares about.
Yeah, for some reason, they're just throwing that stuff in.
Half the audience doesn't even know who Neil Sedaka is.
These other hateful trends.
That's a good line, by the way.
Going into the midterms, he understands that the base that got him elected in 2016 is still the base he needs now. And that is predominantly white, it's predominantly male, and it's non-college educated. And he's doing...
In other words, dumb fucks.
Racist dog whistles.
And let me just defend dog whistles. They're silent. These are loud. Let me read this to you, Don Edwards. The Washington Post, Greg Sargent writes, what would make his claim controversial is if Trump actually meant racial nationalists, which, of course, is exactly what he did mean.
Joe, no! He said it! He said, I'm not a globalist. And now they're just taking this, and this is a lie.
By claiming to be breaking a taboo by using this particular N-word, Trump
N-word! There we go.
Basically confirmed that without saying it out loud. You on board with that analysis, Donna?
Well, I think that's exactly right. And some people have described this as an overtone.
Listen to her. She's great. She's the last one.
An undertone. It's not. It is the tone. I mean, the President of the United States, the only thing that was...
The tone is wrong.
...missing from that speech in Houston last night was the tiki torches and the khakis. Because the President of the United States understands what he believes he needs to turn out his base. He's using that. It's xenophobic, it's racist, and that coupled with the caravans and even the defense of Brett Kavanaugh, the beleaguered white man under assault by the rest of America, all of these play into what Trump sincerely believes is a way that his voters are going to turn out, and it is the worst possible thing. And so the president is doing this on purpose, and I think we shouldn't get fooled into thinking, well, maybe he doesn't understand what he said. He understood full well what he said, and he meant it.
Yeah, he used the N-word, that Hitler.
Wow.
It's bad, man.
I made deals with the devil.
That's right. Deals with the devil. That's what it got you.
His comeuppance. That is the worst. I mean, I can't give you a clip of the day.
No, I don't want. I would refuse. I would reject it because it's so offensive. It's so offensive as drivel. But yet,
CNN should be ashamed of itself for putting stuff like that.
MSNBC.
Oh, what am I thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to this all day. I mean, that's really my.
NBC has. Well, NBC. We should mention, of course, because there's a thing I want to read. I don't have any clips, although I could get plenty of them. Is the Megyn Kelly thing?
Yes.
Which is NBC.
This is very, very cool.
Now, what happened with Megyn Kelly? And if you've been watching my tweets, when I first saw the first article come out, because she had gone on her show and said, she naively did this, but I kind of understand it from her perspective. When I was a little girl, and she was one of those obviously cute little girls that could do anything, nobody gave a crap.
Mm-hmm.
You could wear blackface and go trick or treating, and I don't see what the big deal is. Yeah, and she has no, she's the one who's, she's just, they told her off on the show, and we can get some clips from it. I can show them on Sunday. I do have some, not on today's rundown. But they said, no, this is bad. You got to apologize. Well,
she apologized.
She apologized, but then it wasn't good enough. And Al Roker, who was, I think, a hitman for the network.
Oh, sure.
Came out and said, no, this apology is not good enough. It wasn't this, it wasn't that.
Oh, you don't have a clip of that? I wish I could have heard that.
Well, then, and I'll get these clips.
Yeah.
And then she came out and apologized again with damn near crying. And then they condemned her for having fake tears and all this other stuff, which is, she's a woman and they're ganging up on her.
They've been waiting to take her down. This was all ready. They had the paperwork ready. They were just waiting for a moment. And if you're doing a live talk show, that moment's going to come.
Oh, it comes a lot, but most of the time it gets ignored or you get out of it. I mean, with Letterman's a good example. But they didn't want her. And so I watched the articles come out. Variety just was lambasting her with editorials, and the Variety is apparently a stooge for the network. But Megyn Kelly, this is a CNN opinion piece that ran on MS and Microsoft. Megyn Kelly's blackface comments show her true face by Roxanne Jones. And then this is interesting. I'm going to read you the first two paragraphs. Sometimes I'm sorry just doesn't cut it. A hard lesson that NBC Today Show host Megyn Kelly now understands. Reportedly, Kelly's morning show, Megyn Kelly Today, may be canceled, according to CNN sources and Variety reports. Kelly, who never really seemed like a good fit for NBC. This is the part that always cracks me up. This is that, and anyone who's worked in a company has seen this in many forms, but it's always takes the same form. You got an employee. The guy's a kick-ass sales guy, or he does something really spectacular, and everybody likes him. Something happens, he does something and gets fired. Then in all the meetings, the guy was never any good.
Didn't really fit in.
Didn't fit in. We're glad to get rid of him. It was. Yeah. And you see this. I said, wait a minute, you guys loved this guy a month ago, but now you hate him? And it's just like a corporate thing. You have to do this, I guess. It makes the mechanism work better.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people would say, why'd you get rid of Bill? Well, he's no good.
Well, she never really found her footing at the network. Now, did she? She never really found her footing.
She was doing fine. Kelly, who never seemed to be a good fit, this woman writes, for the NBC morning show, overplayed her popularity earlier this week when she passionately defended people who donned blackface costumes for Halloween.
And that is so. I saw the segment. She was not talking about traditional blackface with the exaggerated red lips and all that. That is not what she was talking about, but she used the term.
No, that's all that happened. All she did was use the term. And then it goes on. A thing that most Americans understand is definitely not okay unless their intention is to offend. I don't know if that is okay to offend. This makes no sense, this article. Quote, but what is racist, Kelly asked on her show, because you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface on Halloween or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up like a character.
Yeah.
And then so it appears that you can't even discuss it.
No.
Even though you may be discussing it from a screwball perspective, which wasn't right, or wasn't right by today's politically correct standards. It would have been right in the 50s or the 60s.
Yep.
She looks kind of like a 50s character. But they were looking for something. It was a trap door. She fell into it.
Yep.
They were just laying in wait. And no matter what she did, her first apology was no good, according to Roker. Her second apology was a fake apology with fake tears, according to these other people. And it's just now she's done. She is going to be off the air within a week, the way it's going. They have wasted no time of fast-tracking her.
I think she already got a settlement.
Oblivion.
I think the news is out. $69 million settlement to leave.
Shit, take it.
Take it and start a podcast.
Conan got NBC does this. NBC is a screwed up company for throwing money away like this. NBC, I think it was $80 million because when Conan took over the Tonight Show, and then they bounced him out because Leno wanted the show back after he failed at the 10 o'clock. And that was Zucker, by the way, before he went to CNN.
Yep.
Zucker was running the place, and he had this bright idea of doing Leno's show at 10 o'clock during prime time, bumping off Law and Order and all the dramas and putting Leno on every night at 10. Wasn't working out, is killing the ratings. Almost the network's never recovered. Leno wants to go back to the Tonight Show. They have to fire Conan, who was promised the show. They give him $80 million to go away. And I mean, what are these guys? There's a terribly run company. And Comcast owns them now. I don't know how Comcast puts up with the management at NBC. It's beyond me.
Well, the good news is now there's a slot open for the return of Matt Lauer. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage. The man who put the C in Clean My Toilet, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also, in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet on the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and nights out there.
And in the morning to our troll room, which used to be known as just the IRC channel and later became the chat room. Void Zero set that up. Thank you very much. Running for pretty much all 11 years, I think. Close to it. Troll room and noagendastream.com. You can go to that website on Thursday and Sunday mornings. where you will hear us do the show live, which is pretty much the same as the podcast, with just the, like the ending tightened up and the beginning with a little opener. But otherwise, you hear the pre-show and things that are going on.
Well, if the show goes south and we lose connections or something, we get to hear you cuss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, or hit the wall.
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus. Some people see it as a bonus. But the troll room is also very important for me. They do on-the-fly fact-checking.
Fact-check false.
They feed me one-liners. They tell me if something's wrong. And they get a lot wrong, too, when they troll. But that's the beauty of it. NoAgendaStream.com. Thank you in the morning to you. Congratulations on 11 years.
Yes, someone's got to feed you one-liners.
Also, in the morning to Darren O'Neill. He brought us the artwork for episode 1079. The title of that was Expando Vision. Wait, I should say it properly. Expando Vision.
Well, actually, I should say it properly.
Go for it.
Expando Vision.
Beautiful. This was the jar of Grey Poupon, which was the No Agenda Grey Poupon.
Yes.
Dijon mustard, now with more oomph.
He's also got 33 ounces, and there's a little thing on the jar top thing. He's got a little joke on there, too.
Yeah, Best by 3. I can't quite see it.
Something like that.
Yeah. I never finished my Grey Poupon story, but we'll leave that for later or another time.
Yeah, you did.
No, I never finished the story. It's okay. We'll get to another time.
You were interrupted?
It was a celebrity Yeah, no, we just, you took over mid-sentence, and it was okay. I was just like, oh, you said something interesting, so I left it, and then I was
now I'm wondering what the Grey Poupon story is.
It's not all that great, but I'll tell it a different time. It's a showbiz story. It involves show business people.
Okay, when we go off the rails,
it's a little lengthy for here. Okay.
We do have some people to thank for the anniversary show, 11 years, show 1080. And we have show 1100 coming up pretty soon, by the way, which is another breakthrough.
Good number. All good numbers. I like these 11s.
Lots of 11s. 11,
very strong numbers. Very strong numbers.
11. We have the top donor. We have a bunch of, a couple, at least one or two Instanites. Troy Thomas with 1113.31.
Oh.
A lot of, and that came in as a check. And he came in with a handwritten note in longhand, and then he went back to all caps printing for good reason. I haven't written in cursive, he writes.
And it shows.
You got to read this. In a long time, but I am trying to remember how I bed like I am in 4th grade, 44th hour. Just sighed again. Grade again. 4th grade again. I got a C in penmanship, so I will stop now. It is getting easier as I write this, but I will stop now. Okay. Back to all caps and print.
Yes, please. Back to something we can understand.
I love No Agenda. I don't remember how I found it, but I remember Cranky Geeks. So sorry about the column, John, but most tech writing is shit now anyway. Your show messed up my podcast listening. I used to listen to dumb stuff like Her Idea Cast and Career Tools, but I only have so much podcast time as my commute is short. Ironically, you mentioned the old Agnew's Hospital that closed. My house, this is the mental hospital I talked about.
Oh, yeah.
My house is now on the old Agnew's Hospital land.
Ooh.
It's called Rivermark, and it's a master plan community. That is actually walkable with a Safeway, dry cleaning restaurants, and a credit union. There's a Wells Fargo, but I would never bank with those dumb shits. There's a Pete's too, John. Here's my donation, old school way. Check 1113.31 for show 1113. Okay. Clear the douchebag status for me and send me some jobs karma.
All right, first de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
He says, we put the jobs karma at the end of his note. My staff in engineering got moved into IT and management. There sucks. It's me. It's time for me to move on. Please knight me, Knight of Rivermark. Best. You can choose a few clips old at the end of the show, I think, or old school. Anyway, that was so we'll give him a little jobs karma.
Okay.
Jobs,
move around.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Vote for jobs.
By the way,
you've got karma.
I just wanted to mention that the Void Zero IRC network was alive a couple months before the show actually started. I did not know Void Zero, and this is the beauty of this show. And he just came into our lives, and it's still here. For the troll room.
Well, Void Zero is a special person. Ben Rose is too. I have to give them both credit for being.
We have lots of special people, but these guys,
those guys. For the dude's name Ben. I'm sure there's a few others that we should.
They're literally sitting in our engine room all the time, just making sure the engine is cranking. And any other way, we would go so broke on bandwidth costs and everything. They figured it all out. They figured out how to do it in the most effective way. Yes,
they're not idiots.
Keep us safe. Certainly safe is a lot.
It's a lot cheaper than Podbean.
Yes. All right.
You've exceeded your bandwidth. Hey, I tried getting your podcast, man. It says that your bandwidth's exceeded. What are we supposed to do now? I can't listen to the podcast because bandwidth's exceeded. Sir Borislav Marinov in Trabuco Canyon, California, 111.11, which is our special our executive producer special for this particular show, 11th anniversary. I don't have a note from him.
Oh, that's strange.
And it doesn't seem to have shown up in the donation. So I will look for that, and we'll read his note on the next show whenever we can find it, because he does write in.
Let me just check. I'm checking real quick here.
I mean, it could be in the PayPal thing that didn't come through.
Borislav. Let me just see if he shows up. No, I got him in.
Anyway, he's one of our...
No, I don't. I do not
one
have
of our
anything.
more famous knights.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get him. We'll get you later, Borislav. Sir Craig Porter in Council Bluffs, Iowa, is the second $1,111.11 special executive producer for show 11th anniversary show, Council Bluffs, Iowa. John and Adam, I always feel bad because so many other producers write such great notes, and all I really have to say is happy 11th anniversary, and please keep up the excellent work in media deconstruction. I'd like to ask for some jobs karma in abeyance, as I may be terminated from my current job at a major tech company due to something boneheaded that I did.
Oh, boy.
But I won't find out until Monday. You always have to, if anybody working at any level where you can write, cover your ass memos, just do it constantly. I've been on
follow Mayor Adler's example in Austin. It's fine.
I've been on administrative leave this whole week.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you're doomed.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Unless you're in some situation where they can't fire you because you know too much.
Can you blame Trump?
Blame Trump.
Yeah, just blame Trump. That'll work.
Any tips on how to deal with the meeting with my manager about my termination are appreciated.
Yes, I can. Stop. I was so upset by the lack of compassion our president has for the caravan, and then that he has incited all this violence with bombs. I'm sorry. I must have temporarily lost my mind, but I'm seeing someone, and I think I'll be okay. I need one more week of paid leave. There's my idea.
Yeah. If you can find some way to show that you had pointed, whatever you did wrong, that you had pointed out some issue that was never resolved, that's a great out. That got me out of a jam once.
Yeah, but enough about your...
I mentioned this like 2 months ago, and nobody said nothing.
Enough about your first marriage. What else does he say?
Please have an L Sharpton respect. Thanks for have a great day, Sir Craig.
Okay. Might as well play the full deal for him.
He's getting lunch at Chipotle. The tortillas in the race. Kim Kardashian, Sigourney Weaver, R-E-S-P-I-C-T. They're all jitty with it. R-E-S-P-I-C-T. There's no real conflict. Resist. We must. Resist. We must. We must. And we will much about that. Be committed.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Sir Timothy Scott Crow in Linwood, Washington, becomes an executive producer with $333.33. This is 11 times 3. Oh. One for myself, one for my wife, and one for our expecting human resource coming in April of next year.
Oh, nice.
The show has helped me, and I'm sure others, keep an even keel between dimensions. I've been a big fan of Yeezy for a long time. This clip showed me how introspective he is in business.
Yeah, it has a link to a YouTube.
24s if you want to check it out. F-bomb it at end, though. F-bomb at end. Okay. I follow NANOG, a North American Network Operators Group, fairly closely. This year, there was a computer science professor from Wisconsin giving a speech on how ruined our network infrastructure will be with mass flooding and more frequent storms, which providers are at higher risk.
Really?
Videos you'd like to watch. Oh, he's talking about global warming.
Oh, no, I can't watch Netflix. Now it's a problem.
In looking for some jobs, Karma, my current salary is far below the greater Seattle area median for network engineers. Thanks, Amazon. Thanks for keeping the show going 11 years, Sir Timothy Scott Crow.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You know,
you've got karma.
Just about Amazon. I have resentment towards Bezos with just what he's doing and connecting everything and the advertising and the tracking. And so I'm like, I'm not going to go to it's much closer. Whole Foods is close by. I'm going to go to H-E-B, and we have a real ghetto H-E-B, which I kind of enjoy. It's way south on Old Torf. And I was all ready. I'm like, I'm going to make scallops for dinner. With the risotto. I've never done a risotto. It's my first risotto. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Got everything. What are you doing?
I just said,
Why?
I'm not a big risotto fan.
But that's not nice.
It's kind of soupy rice is what it is. Okay,
so
go on.
I'm making a risotto. I got everything. I go to the fish counter for the scallops. Because of the water boil, no ice, no fish, no scallops, no nothing.
Yeah.
I race off to Whole Foods.
A ghetto, like a real Texas H-E-B or any of these Fiestas, another chain I've seen down there that are just big supermarkets that are kind of like appeal to the locals that know how to cook.
Yep.
They're fantastic stores. They got all kinds of stuff you will not get at Whole Foods.
Absolutely true. And at a fraction of the price.
Yeah, cheaper.
And people are much happier, and just it's a much better experience. But I did have to go to Whole Foods. They actually had some scallops still out. They can't put any more fish produce out. It's done. No more fish products. They can't keep it. They can't ship it. So we'll be eating beef, barbecue.
Well, maybe it's just all a plot to get you back on the meat wagon.
Yeah. We usually have sushi on Thursday nights. I don't think that's going to happen either.
That ain't happening.
I don't think so.
Hoity-toity.
Yep.
Austin sushi.
Bar Chi sushi is famous in Austin.
I don't eat a sushi anywhere if you're not within 10 miles of an ocean coast. Just a habit of mine. It's a belief of mine.
Hey, you know what? You are banned from coming to Austin, okay? You're banned.
Well, not so with Sir Andrew Snoops Magoo Bentley. He's in Tacoma, Washington at $333. The segue, huh?
Yeah, nice. I like it.
Congratulations on your 11th year anniversary. 11's my lucky number. I was born on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. It wasn't in 1911, though.
No.
Keep up the great work, Sir Andrew Snoops Magoo Bentley. Jingle request. Any Al Gore gloom and doom soundbite followed by Obama saying, "You you might die.
And it now traps as much extra heat energy every day as would be released by 500,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every day.
You might die.
You've got karma.
I like it.
Good combo.
I like it.
Arthur Kunath in Parts Unknown, $250. Excellent product. He begins his note.
Thank you.
That I enjoy very much. There are so many lies, misdirections, hysteria, and complete nonsense to the MSM, mainstream media, that your show is an island of repose for my weary soul.
Nice. That's a bumper sticker.
Thank you for your needed work. Keep it up for another 11 years.
Thank you very much. We love being an island of repose for your weary soul. And thank you for your support of the show. I don't know about another 11 years, though.
Yeah.
We both had the same, kind of like the way you think about my risotto.
Well, maybe if you... I didn't say anything about your risotto. I've never had your risotto. I'm talking about risotto in general.
Okay. I don't make soupy risotto.
All risotto's kind of soupy.
A little soupy.
And it loses its whatever.
It's
Ryan Burgett in El Paso, Texas, $250. He writes in a note. Damn it, use this note. He's apparently sent in like a number of notes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I saw this.
Sir, so I think it was like 3. I don't know if this is on there. You're going to have to take a note, take a pen out.
All right, I got a note.
Sir Bong Hits and Bourbon back in the saddle and living down in sunny El Paso, home of Beto. It's been a couple of years since I donated due to my many excuses, too common and boring to repeat here, since I'm being corrected in the proper term of bong rips, and because I have graduated to single malt scotch, I would like to retire my current title and request a new one.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Eric may have it on there.
Let me see.
Surpass Knight of the Sun City.
Yes, we have it. Sir Bong Hits and Bourbon goes to surpass Knight of the Sun City. Yes, that is on the peerage notation list.
Shout out to my smoking hot wife who thinks you two are annoying.
Hey, shout out back at you.
I'm slowly winning her over. Probably not.
Doubtful.
The Garland clan in PA, Washington, including Brielle, Dame Elise, Hot Fisherwoman, and cousin Ian, as well as my man in Seattle, Ginda, who I've unfortunately called out as a douchebag for not donating. I have to call out as a douchebag for not donating. Give him a douchebag. A few things from my perspective. This is a big, giant family of people. The
related to the Garlings? That's insane. That's
yeah.
Did they? What I'd like to know is, did Dame Elise get other people to listen, or was that independent? Is it something that runs in their bloodline?
I think her brother is a natural for the show.
And this is just one of the many people that we have come to adore over the years who just do...
Well, that's because Dame Elise gives us free things.
Okay, I was going in a different way, but yeah, send us free shit. We'll adore you, man. Speaking of adoration, just because it came up, Beto, this is a 12-second clip, and there's something wrong with this.
You can't go 10 feet without an interruption from a Beto backer.
So much. I love you too. Thank you all.
You're a rock star.
No, there's just so many great
really
people who are.
You can't go anywhere without getting.
Hey guys.
When is the last time we actually had a quote-unquote rock star? Hello, 1980s.
Well, he does have a little bit of a look of that lead guitar player, lead of the Cars.
Oh, Rick Ocasek?
He has a Rick Ocasek goofball look.
That's not a rock star. Rock star. We just need to, it's I don't know. It's just an anachronism. Rock
it's
star.
funny you play that clip because this note goes like this. A few things from my perspective down here before I get into the main reason I'm able to support you two in your stellar work. 1, almost every house in El Paso has a freaking Beto sign in their yard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in direct sales going door to door selling solar, and I'm amazed at the level of support this town throws one of their own. That being said, they're mostly hypocrites, since many of them don't have solar or even want to add it to their homes, regardless of Beto.
You should change your pitch. Hi, I'm here on behalf of Beto. By the way, that was funny. Yesterday, I got this text message, and I despise this because, I try not to be tracked at all, from a 737 number, and it was, Hi, Adam. It's Georgianne with Beto for Texas. Early voting has started. We're fired up to vote. You can early vote based on public records. We think you're registered to vote in Travis County. Check here for where to early vote. When will you vote? And so I texted back. I said, Dear Georgiana, I'm so sorry to hear this. Ted asked me last week, and I've already made a date with him, but maybe next year, heart. And she replied. She said, oh, that's actually pretty funny. Okay, have a nice day. And I was like, oh, that's a real human being there. They got so much money.
Oh, 33 million.
They got time to be texting with me all day. All right.
Anyway, he goes on. He says, not my business. My company provides energy and solar solutions in El Paso, Texas, Las Cruces, Albuquerque, and Pensacola. Here, currently, we are expanding into other markets as well. We'll see if you use enough energy to benefit. You get a 30% tax credit. He goes on. He says, here's my call to action. If any no agenders in these or surrounding areas go solar with my company, I will donate $333 to No Agenda in your name. That's right. An executive producership for saving money and the planet.
Wow.
And the website is Merakisol, Merakisol.
Merakisol?
No, Merkisolar solutions.com. So it's one word, Solasolutions.com.
Oh,
nice URL. Jeez. Come up with something else.
I thought Dvorak was hard. Dvorak. You need a jingle.
So it's Merak, Merak, solarsolutions.com, all one word. You get a free estimate. He wants the step up preppers, poopers, it says, John, don't shit on solar after you read this piece. Oh, or do.
We'll put the link in the show notes. Thank you.
No jingles, no karma. Okay.
Right, thank you very much. That's highly appreciated, Ryan.
Sir Donald Silva in Iwa Beach, Hawaii.
Mahalo.
He sent a check-in with a kind of an interesting note I didn't know. He's been a nice Sir Donald Silva forever. He's also NJNK, so I don't have to get prepared. When my wife died in 93 from cancer, I stopped working. I helped my mother for a while with her finances. But then I stopped entirely. I was an optical physicist.
Wow.
I came to Hawaii where I learned...
What does an optical physicist do?
He's a guy who deals with the physics of lenses, is what I think, for one thing.
Okay.
I came to Hawaii where probably more to it than that, I'm sure. I came to Hawaii where I learned the healing, I can't read it. It's right, something about Lomi Lomi.
The healing properties?
The whole healing aspect of Lomi Lomi massage. And I got interested in metaphysics, occult knowledge, etc. That's why he listens to our show.
I thought he was here for the Lomi Lomi. What is it called?
Lomi Lomi.
Lomi
Look it up.
Lomi Lomi.
Now at 82.
Hello, Sir Donald.
I think it's over. Thinking I would die 2 years ago, I found that I'm very much alive and thinking of about the world at large. The best explanation is given by.
This sounds good.
It's hard for me to read the sentence with a straight face, even though we like the guy. The best explanation is given by David Icke.
Reptiles, of course. We're all on board with that. Hello.
I love all beings except the mice that get into my house. I live 10 feet from the water, and it's rising. I've lost 20 feet of my property to the ocean. Soon the water is called erosion. Will claim my home, which will go first, me or my house. Don't know. My poor handwriting is due to a stroke. It's actually good handwriting compared to most people, stroke or not. But I know you'll like. I know you like handwritten notes. I'm sorry you lost your job, John. Your column was a highlight. Reading for me. Also, I made it to the end. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo. It sounded, when you were giggling, it sounded like your edibles had finally kicked in.
Yeah. Well, no. It's just, I don't know. I just don't think
I like it. No, it's funny. Hey, Sir Donald Silva, thank you very much. It's highly appreciated.
Saved by
we love hearing from you.
David Icke.
Yeah, and he's been around for a long time, so.
Yeah, Donald Silva, he's a great guy.
He's been a supporter for a long time.
Thomas Wolfarth. in Hendersonville, North Carolina, 23456. This puts me over for knighthood. I'd like to be knighted Sir Puck of the Western North Carolina, accounting to Sir Dick Bangs of D.C. Adequate name for Washington, D.C., where he's from, $222. Saw the Beagle and knew what to do. In Heidelberg, Germany, for work, I was interested in seeing Patrick Henry Barracks, where my grandfather was stationed when my father and uncle were children about 60 years ago. Unfortunately, now it's no-go zone, Somali refugee camp.
Huh.
If only Gaddafi and his African refugee immigration plug were still there. Thanks, Hillary. And for that inside knowledge, thank you too. Need human resource karma number 3, baking, and a new karma. Sidebar, I'm an Eagle Scout.
There you go.
I went to a D.C. Jesuit high school, not many of us. Thanks for the sanity. Not to be read on the show, and it goes on.
Yeah. No.
The little inside information that will...
Yes. Thank you very much, Sir Dick Bangs. And he wanted human resource karma and new home karma. It's packaged in one for you right here.
You've got karma.
Sir Tim of the Tunnels, $222.22, says he's also in Hawaii in Waipahu. Keep this short. Happy anniversary. Here's a bag of 11s for each of you. Which is 222.22. Good point. If you can scrounge up some vintage Seed Man, that would be aces. Goat karma for all, Sir Tim of the Tunnels.
These are pigs.
wait. I want to do a different one. Was it this one? Yeah, here we go. This is a good one. And which karma did he need? Oh, goat karma, right?
Goat.
Okay.
My God, for 25 years, they've been growing babies in cows.
You've got karma.
Josh Dahoney.
By the way, Alex Jones doing very well in Austin now with his Berkey water sales, just flying off the shelf.
Oh, I'll bet they are. This is a bonanza for him.
Yes. Then they laughed. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they laughed. I mean, that most of these water deals are not, anything to brag about.
The Berkey is an outstanding product.
Yeah, it does because it's a real deal. It's not like a cheapie. It's not like just a filter to make your water taste better.
Right.
Which is what I use. I use zero water. I think is the best tasting water. Yeah. Zero water in there. You refrigerate it. It is absolutely delicious. Much better than Evian.
And much better than risotto.
Risotto. You got to keep stirring it,
I know. It's very labor intensive.
There is a shortcut methodology that actually works. I've seen it. It's something that one of these British chefs dreamed up. And
I don't. You got to do it the official way. Keep adding the liquid. Keep adding stirring. Jeez. All right, John. We get it. I'm not making risotto.
Mahoney in Pennington, New Jersey, $200. ITM, fellas, thank you for the years of hard work, research, time, and effort. You are my standard for news. There is no better podcast in the universe. Please de-douche me and send my amazing wife, Melissa, some job karma. Thanks.
Thank you so much, and that's very sweet of you.
You've been de-douched. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Sir Bruce in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, $200. Happy 11. Look at what you're doing. Hope you continue in good health. This donation makes me a baronet. No accounting below because I don't remember any of it. Knighted in November 2014, folder, love the hair, NJNK, Sir Bruce.
Right, Bruce. We will add your title later in our ceremony. Thank you.
It's on the list.
Yes, thank you. It is.
And last is Anushka Wardy in Lafayette, California, right up the street from me. It's been about a year following the NA show. I didn't see you at the meetup. Love it. Born and raised in Holland. Adam's English with the Dutch accent is the best.
Hey, weet je, ik zag laatst die curry met Tina bij de Dunkin' Donuts. Was geweldig, man.
And I agree.
That was my Dutch. That was just my pure Dutch.
Now living close to John for the past 29 years, and I have a kid in UT Austin, University of Texas.
That's right.
Also a little bit of political junkie. So between your show, the TPO podcast, and No Spin News, plus your fun San Francisco Bay Area and Austin local updates, I'm happy camper. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to give her a karma for that. Very nice.
You've got karma.
See you at the meetup.
Come to the meetup.
Meetup. All right. That concludes our producers, executive, and an associate for show 1080 and a special anniversary donations. Thank everyone for helping us out there today. It was great.
Yeah, it was this very nice list, and I love reading the stories. And what I like reading the most is people consistently saying, you did something that helped me with my psychology, with just living better and happier. That gets me up, has been getting me up from bed 11 years long. And
otherwise, he just sits there and cries.
That's right. Curled up in a ball. That's right. Yeah, stirring my risotto. So really appreciate all of these executive producers and associate executive producers. I think you should be able to say I am the executive or associate executive producer of the 11th anniversary show of the No Agenda podcast. That is your official credit for this one. So go out and display that proudly wherever credits are accepted, because they will be recognized. If not, we're happy to vouch for you. We'll be thanking more people. It's quite a nice list for our 11th anniversary in our second donation segment. And, of course, we will have 11 years and one episode, 1081, coming up on Sunday. Remember us for that episode at
Dvorak.org/NA.
Hitting people in the mouth for 11 years. You go out and propagate it.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Squirrel!
Shut up, slave!
And as usual for these kinds of celebrations, we will carry it over to Sunday. So if anybody still wants to get in and get some praise from us, we'll definitely we look forward to that.
Okay, we have...
By the way, before we stop.
Yeah, I'm stopping.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're going to be stirring this arbor rice or whatever the rice.
Yes,
you got to use the right rice.
You got to use the right rice, correct. Arbori.
Especially, that stuff, that Italian, especially should be from Italy.
Yes.
And then you're going to need some very good Parmesan.
Yes, got that.
You have very good Parmesan. You just have the Costco.
No, I have Parmesan. Willow sends me Parmesan several times a year from Italy.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. You poo-poo. You're not tasting my risotto ever.
I don't care.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind tasting the Parmesan she sends you.
She'd probably send you some if you're nice to me.
Or maybe if I'm mean to you, she'll send me some.
Give it
a shot. I don't know what your relationship was.
Give it a shot. Yes. Do you have more critique about the risotto?
Come in. Well, yeah,
oh God! Yeah, please
stir it and stir it and stir it endlessly. This is not the idea of cooking to me. It's the idea of agony. There's both the French and the Italians, to be honest about it, do not know how to cook rice. The Iranians are the people who perfected how to cook rice.
Okay. I am neither.
I'm done.
I'm neither. Okay.
The foot bone's connected to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone's connected to the shin bone, and the shin bone's connected to the knee bone, and the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. Yep, he's all together. Looks like that's Khashoggi.
Sir Chris Wilson.
Chris.
We have the official pronunciation. We've been trying to figure this out.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we do. We have the official pronunciation of Khashoggi.
You said Jamal Khashoggi was not a good guy.
Jamal Khashoggi.
Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi. There you go. Jamal Khashoggi is now the official No Agenda pronunciation of the name. Even though
this guy is still on the air.
Jamal Khashoggi.
And so the official way to pronounce it is Jamal Khashoggi. No, Jamal Khashoggi. That's the official way.
Okay, I want you to pronounce it that way from now on.
Oh, I want to do Sharpton's way. Okay, Jamal Khashoggi. Khashoggi.
I thought it was Khashoggi.
No, it's Khashoggi.
Or Khashoggi.
It's no.
I've heard 1,000
Jamal
different ways.
Khashoggi.
Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi.
Okay, doesn't really matter. Hey, there's a lot going on. As I predicted, now the world is starting to come into action. Now we're seeing the real players behind this. Angela Merkel, I'm looking at her as part of propagating this, trying to cut the Saudis out of everything. And Erdogan is loving this. He has now become the central figure in the Middle East, whereas he really had no power against the crown prince. So look at who's now all of a sudden his friend. We've got, of course, Iran. They have a border. They've been very, 30% of people in Turkey are Iranian, and there's a huge proportion of Turks in Iran. Qatar, who they are bailing out the Turkish economy. They just put $15 billion.
And they hate Saudi Arabia.
Well, Saudi Arabia hates them too. And then Syria, and with this comes Putin and the Russians. And this is beautiful because who is the central switching station for all the pipelines that we've been looking at? It's Turkey. You want to get into Europe, you can go through Turkey with Iranian oil, with Russian oil. And he's loving this. And that's why he's coming up with all kinds of fantastical stories. And there is a technicality here that I was incorrect about. I thought that embassy ground is sovereign territory. It's not. And I've been corrected by many people. And
well, then why don't they go bust in and grab Julian Assange? Answer me that.
Well,
Batman.
First of all, here's an interesting rub. The host country is completely responsible for the safety of the embassy and anyone in it. So technically, the Turks are responsible for whatever happened to Khashoggi, Jamal Khashoggi. They cannot enter the embassy without head of mission permission, which they did receive. So I'm just saying that a crime committed that would be acceptable in Saudi Arabia done in the embassy in Turkey is not, although I don't know what they do in Turkey. They may behead people, just not as openly as the Saudis do. That is punishable by the laws of the host country. So that's just a technicality. That's just a technicality. Let me see. I'm going to start because a lot of people started coming out and talking about this. I would say we stick with Erdogan for a second. This is France 24.
Erdogan made no reference to alleged audio and video recordings of the murder, which had been mentioned in the Turkish press, instead putting the onus on the Saudis to provide answers as to who had ordered the assassination, and asking that they identify the alleged local collaborator who's said to have disposed of Khashoggi's body. The Turkish president trod carefully, saying that he believed King Salman was sincere when he denied knowledge of the murder, but making no direct mention of his regional rival, the influential Crown Prince. Turkey expert Dorothee Schmid told France 24 that Erdogan's speech shows his main concern is his domestic audience.
Showing that he has trust in the king himself to put things in a different way with his son, to arrange the power relationship inside the House of Saudis. This is an internal matter for the Saudis to do. So, but what matters for Erdogan more is to show that he's the master in Turkey also, and that the sovereignty of Turkey has to be respected.
Upping pressure on the kingdom, Erdogan said there would be an independent Turkish investigation into the incident, adding that the 18 suspects should be tried in Turkish courts.
So my takeaway from this clip is that Erdogan is calling for a form of regime change, saying, hey, I get along with the king fine, but, this mofo, this kid here, he's got to get out of there, which Erdogan wants because right now he is speaking on behalf of Sunni Muslims and all in the Middle East. I think Trump is a bit on board with this. Here's a short clip of him.
It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups.
He's an expert on cover-ups, which I think is odd.
Very simple.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Bad deal. Should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint when they thought about it, because whoever thought of that idea, I think, is in big trouble.
So there's Trump trying to, because I'm sure he was really caught off guard with this, he is trying to deflect and say, well, whoever came up with it, that guy's in big trouble. Not the Saudis. We shouldn't be blocking that because we got too many. This is all dependent upon his real deals with the Saudis for petrodollar maintenance, although he wants the price of oil to be lower. Also, the biggest deal ever that he wants to complete, the Palestine-Israel two-state solution. And this is so important. They're so caught off guard that Jared Kushner came out and did an interview of all people, Van Jones on CNN. This is a rare moment when you hear the Cushbird speaking.
You're going to try to get to the facts. Do you trust the Saudis to investigate themselves? I mean, it seems like MBS is like the prime suspect. He's also the prime investigator. I mean, do you trust the Saudis to sort this out?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we're getting facts in from multiple places, and then once those facts come in, the Secretary of State will work with our national security team to help us determine what we want to believe and what we think is credible and what we
help us with what we want to believe
think is not credible.
Yeah. Even Trump says there's like deception and lies. I mean, do you see anything that seems deceptive?
I see things that are deceptive every day. I see them in the Middle East. I see them in Washington. And so, again, I think that we have our eyes wide open. I think that, again, the president is focused on what's good for America. What are our strategic interests? Where do we share interests with other countries? Let's work towards those. But, every day we deal with people who are trying to deceive us in different ways. But our job is to see through it, but also to stay focused on what's best for the American people. And the president's fully committed to doing that.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. But he's in trouble because he's good friends with MBS, Mr. Bonesaw. Back to France 24. This is Marietje Schakens. Schaken. I do not like this woman. She's Dutch. She's a member of European Parliament. She's from the D66 party in the Netherlands. The reason I don't like her, well, first of all, the D66 party are a bunch of just wishy-washy white milquetoast, I guess. But all she seems to do, because I check the tweeters, she's only on Twitter all day, commenting on Trump and this and just spewing. And not even reading articles, just translating the headlines. This is an outrage. Crazy. Why do Americans put up with him? And I'm like, go do some business in the European Parliament. And she is. And she is telling us exactly what's happening, the continuation of what has been called for in the U.S. Congress, the Magnitsky Act. She may even reference it directly here, but if not, it's exactly what they're calling for. So they can shut off Saudi Arabia and have their own little deals with Russia and with Iranian oil. They've been working on it for months.
If you look at the irrational behavior and lie after lie after lie after lie coming from Riyadh over the past couple of weeks, it is entirely irresponsible to sell war weapons to this country.
And she's talking about EU selling war weapons. The French and the Brits, big discussion about this. Not just our deal, but there's lots of deals, it turns out.
Oh, yeah. They guys have got a lot of money. They buy a lot of stuff. A lot of
to
toys.
These authorities. And I think that it is very good that Chancellor Merkel has taken the lead. And I would have preferred to see an EU-wide embargo, which is something that we have called for in the European Parliament repeatedly already, especially in the context of the war in Yemen. So I hope, again, we will reach a turning point here and we'll see more rational behavior. And at least we will cease to export instability to Saudi Arabia. And a weapon embargo, but also an embargo on selling surveillance equipment with which dissidents and journalists are being tracked and traced in the kingdom is also absolutely appropriate. And then lastly, we would also call for human rights sanctions, meaning that those individuals who are responsible for this brutal murder will be individually held to account. Visa bans. We can see asset freezes so that there's no more, fun time shopping in Paris or putting yachts in Nice or children in good European universities. There have to be consequences for the individuals that are responsible, and the impunity with which violations have been taking place, human rights violations that were serious before this murder for a very long time, it has to stop.
No more shopping trips to Paris. No more yachts in French harbors. I wish I could make fun of her accent, but it's actually pretty good. Can't do it with her. So that's the plan, and Merkel is leading it. Merkel, best friends with Putin. They were in East Germany together at the same time. This is not our friend. And she is really working very hard to effectively ruin the petrodollar. I think that is the ultimate plan. They want Iranian oil, anything they can get from Russia, sell it all to China. They'd love to have it in euro denomination. And I think Trump is screwed on this. I do not see how he gets out of it.
Well, MBS is already backpedaling to an extreme. Do you have a copy of his speech that he gave at the?
No, I don't have that.
I do have it.
Oh, good. Do you have a clip or just a copy of
this?
Speech?
No, this is MBS makes statement. This was on PBS, ran this over the weekend.
Fantastic.
Yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia's crown prince declared today that the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi was a heinous crime, and he promised justice. Mohammed bin Salman addressed an investment conference in Riyadh. It was his first public statement since the Saudis acknowledged that Khashoggi was killed at their consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. And suspicions have been raised that the prince might have known about the plot.
We know that many are trying to use this painful thing to drive a wedge between Saudi Arabia and Turkey. This wedge will not happen, and we will prove to the world that the two governments are cooperating to see that all perpetrators are taken to court and justice will be seen in the end.
Yeah, he's gone. I'm going to tell you, this guy will be gone. There will be a new crown prince appointed. He is out. He is out. He is done. He is gone. He has screwed it up big time. He's done. He cannot rule anymore. And I think that Merkel and Putin. And by the way, Sir Gene was away. He came back and he said that he listened to the so-called press conference where Putin was slamming America as at the end of our days, the empire is dying. And Sir Gene said, actually, he's really complimentary about Trump. It's not like that at all if you listen to it in context. See, I haven't gotten a full translation, but he says it's not.
Gee.
Yeah,
I'm
it's surprising. I know.
I know. Wrong to the public here.
And of course, we have this little tidbit, which if you think she's on a Nancy Drew mission to solve crimes, you got another thing coming.
Gina Haspel, the head of the CIA, is in Turkey today to investigate Khashoggi's killing at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. NPR's Greg Myrie is here to tell us more about that visit. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, Audie.
So what is Haspel's role here?
Well, she's got a very significant role. I mean, not only with her title as head of the CIA, this is a place she knows really well. We know she speaks Turkish in a rare speech recently. She said Istanbul, along with London, are two of her favorite cities in the world. The CIA never says exactly where somebody spent their undercover days, but she clearly knows this place. She's a player. She knows how how things take place there. And remember, the U.S., Turkey, and the Saudis are allies, and they're conducting these sort of separate investigations. But there's also negotiations going on. This is probably not likely to end so much in a courtroom as in a political agreement and some sort of negotiation. So that's the key thing, I think, to keep watching.
Yeah. I'm sure she's there just to investigate. Really? She's there to lay down the law and try and set them straight. And I don't think she has any of the oomph it takes to get anything done. This is a bonanza. And I really am curious when the president is going to get serious about it and address it, because he is losing our shirt in this deal.
Well, he hasn't lost it yet.
Yeah. Meanwhile, pay no attention to the world implications of what is going on. No, this is what you should be watching.
Well, we've been speaking to a number of sources, both very well-placed sources within the investigation and also within political circles. And they've been telling us separately, first of all, that Jamal Khashoggi's body parts have been discovered. They had been cut up. I understand there's some fairly grisly detail about how his face had been disfigured somewhat. There is a suggestion.
I think they used it as a football and kicked it around.
From the second source, he is very, very highly placed, as I say, within political circles, and he has connections within the prosecutor's office, that those body parts were discovered in the garden of the Consul General's home. We're just outside the property. The Consul General's property was part of a very big focus of the forensic investigators. They took some time to get into it. More than 2 weeks later, we ourselves witnessed some of those forensic investigators examining the garden. We know that they took soil samples from there and that they were trying to match DNA samples taken of Jamal Khashoggi with samples that they collected inside the Consul General's residence.
Where's that rapid DNA technology? This should be done in 20 minutes.
Well, they have yet to prove that this is the guy that's buried in the guy's backyard. Sense.
So this, and apparently there are rumors that CIA Gina, that she heard or saw the tape. It's all of this is propaganda. However, it just came out, the European resolution regarding the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. God, I hate it. Let me see.
Just say Khashoggi. Forget it.
Okay, Khashoggi. Here we go. German Chancellor stated that Germany would put arms exports to Saudi Arabia on hold. So that's the first one down. And this is one of those resolutions which is completely mean. We condemn. Let's see. Condemns the Saudis' authorities' ongoing harassment of human rights defenders, activists, lawyers, journalists, clerics, writers, and bloggers. How about podcasters, EU? Put podcasters in there.
Yeah.
Both within and outside the country, which undermines the credibility of the reform process of Saudi Arabia. Let me see. We urge the EU and its member states to take strong position at the next Human Rights Council meeting. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. This is just in, so I'm just reading it on the fly. Support strongly the initiative to create an EU global human rights sanctions regime. Okay. The Dutch authorities will organize that. Well, no worries there. Calls on the Saudi authorities to immediately and unconditionally release Raif Badawi. Oh, so they're asking for prisoners now. Smart. They're asking for people to be released. That's pretty, looks like typical. Parliament has no power. It's just a resolution. Okay. But what Angela Merkel did and what May is now being asked to do, and Macron, is to stop all arms sales. That's going to be very complicated for Trump to say, no, we're going to sell them all of our partners who are actually our enemies in this.
Well, actually, Canada says they're going to keep selling stuff. They don't care.
Well, they're not our enemies. They're right up north.
Now, I do have two clips left. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, one of them duplicates a lot of what you just
No, that's
did.
not. I don't mind.
This is from Democracy Now!, so it has a slant that's always amusing. This is some funny Khashoggi information with Trump, and this is the Trump assertion you already played.
President Trump spoke out Tuesday on journalist Jamal Khashoggi's murder, calling it the worst cover-up ever.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly.
What does that mean, a bad original concept? What does that mean?
Well, I think
he saw the draft and he said this is bad. And
this is a bad original concept. The original concept, we're going to kill this guy. Now, this is another one of those instances that you played this earlier, or at least pretty much the same one, with his arms crossed. His arms are crossed.
Because he's pissed. He's very angry.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. It's very simple. Bad deal. Should have never been thought of.
Bad deal. I mean, you got to listen to what the guy's saying. Deal for what? What was the deal? Was there a deal? Did someone cut a deal? What was the tit-for-tat part of the deal?
Somebody really messed up.
On Tuesday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the U.S. will revoke the visas of Saudi operatives accused of participating in Khashoggi's killing. Pompeo went on to reaffirm the U.S. shared strategic interests with Saudi Arabia, echoing Trump's statements about Saudi Arabia as a strong ally to the United States. Meanwhile, Turkish investigators have reportedly found several suitcases, a laptop, and clothing that may be linked to the murder in a car belonging to the Saudi consulate. On Tuesday, Sky News reported parts of Khashoggi's dismembered body were found in the garden of the Saudi Consul General's Istanbul home, though the reports remain unconfirmed.
Yeah, we just heard that report, and it was very sketchy.
No,
but she presents it kind of as, parts were found, but I need some confirmation.
She's terrible, but which I'll prove later. This is the part 2, which has some information we didn't get.
This comes as a Reuters report into Saud al-Qahtani, a top aide for Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, claims he directed Khashoggi's killing remotely via Skype, instructing those in carrying out Khashoggi's interrogation and murder to, quote, bring me the head of the dog. Meanwhile, in Riyadh, the Saudi royal family met with Jamal Khashoggi's family, including his son, releasing photos of the highly publicized event to the press. Salah Khashoggi appeared visibly strained as he shook the crown prince's hand. Jamal Khashoggi's children are banned from leaving Saudi Arabia.
Now, who was it that apparently on Skype said, bring me the dog's head?
One of these, like the sergeant at arms or one of the assistants for one of the military assistants.
Right, so that guy's going to get killed.
Secret Service.
Right.
Here's what I think. I don't think this guy, MBS, is going to go away the way you do. I'm going to say that I think he's going to stick around because they really don't have anybody else that can run the country. But what he has to do, he's going to have to grab all 15 of those guys who came in on the plane, find them guilty of a rebel, a rogue plot.
Yeah. Behead
find
them.
Find the guy who said, well, it was they beat him up and he died during the fight. That guy, they find him. They're going to line them all up and either shoot them or hang them all or chop their heads off.
Something
and then
public. He's
going to say, this is nothing I wanted. And he's going to go on and on like that. And he's going to stick around and he's going to have a bunch of dead guys. Going to round these guys up. Well, what am I supposed to do? I found all these rogue guys.
Right. That would be the strategy. I don't think it's going to work, and I'm happy with having a different opinion. Let's put it this way: if he stays on, then maybe we'll be okay. If there is a quote unquote regime change and he's replaced or removed, Erdogan takes. We already have no power in Syria. This is a complete turn of global events. That's the way I see it, and I don't see anyone taking this seriously anywhere.
Well, I think that some people are taking this seriously. You wouldn't have Gina.
But I'm talking about media, like M5M.
Oh, the media doesn't. They're just looking for some anti-Trump. They don't care. They're giving us nothing. They stink.
Nothing. Yeah.
That's why we're doing this show. That's why we have 11 years in on the show. Because all we do is point out, the real point of the show is we're not Trump apologists. We just point out that the media is not doing its job. They have an agenda that somebody's, and I don't know, for sure who's behind the agenda, but somebody, and they're just pounding the pavement for the same. You played that clip earlier, that MSNBC clip with this lunatic, Nicole Wallace. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
There's nothing news about it. Let me play the 2 clips I have.
Well, wait. Are we done with the?
I don't know. I'm
Khashoggi.
Hey, Khashoggi. Who killed Khashoggi? Who killed him there?
I think the sawing noise should be a little louder. Remix, please.
That's Abel Kirby. He says, I was drunk when I did it.
Yeah, well, Abel, put a little more saw noises in there. The guy screaming with the sawing going on. That's perfect.
I love this show.
Now we have... now I'm going to play some stuff that is just filled with propaganda, and it's shameful. Democracy Now! Amy Goodman is really an embarrassment. This is the lashed out clip. Now she doesn't say Trump said this. Trump said that. she uses the term. She likes to use these loaded terms.
Lashed out.
I'm going to collect them because she says it all the time. Trump lashed out.
President Trump.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. You can play that clip and then we go to part 2.
President Trump lashed out again Tuesday at the Central American migrant caravan making its way across Mexico toward the U.S. border, claiming Middle Eastern terrorists had infiltrated the group. Pressed by a reporter, Trump admitted he had no proof to back his claim.
They say it happens all the time from the Middle East. It's not even saying bad or good, but some real bad ones. But they intercept. Well, they could very well be.
But there's no proof.
There's no proof of anything. There's no proof of anything. But they could very well be.
There's no proof of anything, the president said.
Okay, so he said it twice, and she reiterated it to make it clear. I don't know what the point of that was.
No.
But it was just it was kind of an offhanded. So he said he didn't have any proof, but he said it anyway, I guess. I'm not sure what she was getting at. But this next clip, which is the continuation, she uses some loaded language here that I have to point out so people will understand when they hear this word, they will pay attention.
Vice President Mike Pence claimed Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez had spoken to him about the caravan.
He told me that the caravan that's now making its way through Mexico, headed for the southern border, was organized by leftist organizations and financed by Venezuela.
Now, I don't know if you caught the word, but the word was at the beginning, and the word was claimed.
Claimed, of course.
Instead of saying Mike Pence said.
Oh, yeah, he claimed. I mean, automatically meaning it's not true.
The subtext of the word claimed is always the guy's a liar. So they're trying to, now this is subtle because people aren't noticing this, but there is a lot of people like Amy and other so-called progressives that think they think the Democrats are going to win the House and that Trump is going to get impeached.
Yeah, and then Pence will be president.
But they got to they got to just start taking aim at Pence because Pence is worse, and they got to impeach him too. That's what Maxine Waters says.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have Pence will impeach him too.
Yes.
For what?
Yeah.
So they're not going to impeach
for being
Trump
an old white man.
They're not going to impeach Trump because he's too much of a foil that they can
but
use.
Hold on, let's just set something straight so everyone understands this. Impeachment is a political process. It does not remove the president from office. It's basically Congress saying, we don't trust you, you're a douche, you're impeached. It doesn't remove him from office. The only way they can do that is if they have 3/4 of the Senate.
Which never happens.
Which will never happen
in U.S. history.
No. And then the idiot Republicans are like, yeah, that's great. Impeach him, then Pence is president. He can appoint Trump as his vice president, then resign, then Trump is president again. Hey.
I never heard that. It's idiotic. It's funny,
this.
though. Now, let's go back to this. This is what Amy's doing. She uses the word claimed, and people should look out for this word when it comes up. The proper word in the journalistic sense is says. You never use claims.
Right.
Unless you're trying to twist the meaning of you're trying to load it up to make it sound as though the guy's lying. And there's no evidence that Pence is even a fibber, let alone a liar. But keep an eye on it. When I hear this sort of thing, it really galls me because these people are on TV. And there's a lot of progressives that listen. They miss the word, but it goes right into your subconscious. The guy, Pence, claims that he had a discussion with the guy. What? He didn't have a discussion with the guy? If you think that, prove he didn't have a discussion with the guy. Go contact the Honduras guy and ask him if he talked to Pence. And if he says, no, I never heard of the guy, there you got a story. You got something. But no, just by using the word claims, it's a dirty, cheap, muddy trick, and it's disgusting. I'm
going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we have to alert the affiliates. The show is running long.
Yeah, it might run a little long.
A little.
I do have to call out. I got my things here. Where are my notes? All right, let's thank a few people. I have somebody to thank that is on a list here. That's on a note sheet. Ah, yes. This came in last couple of shows. Jason Denny and his wife Kelly, smoking hot wife Kelly. They gave from Madison, Alabama, $90.09 last week, and they need some F Karma Cancer and Lotto Karma. So if you will put that at the end of this list.
Yep, you got it.
Arthur Gobetz, $121. Oh, he also sent me a little action figure from the character that was in Taxi. I've never seen it.
Which character in Taxi?
The guy. You're talking to me? You're
Louis,
talking to me?
Louis. Louis.
No, was it Louis? Was it Louis? You talking to me?
I don't know who talking to me. Oh, Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver.
You said Taxi.
Oh, I said Taxi.
I'm thinking,
Taxi
De
Driver.
Niro.
You're talking to me.
De Niro.
Yeah, but there's a character's name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Arthur Gobetz,
Sir Arthur Gobetz, I think.
Sir Arthur Gobetz. M. and Dre, $121.11. M. and Dre of the Mid Valley, $111.11. Mike Riniker in Dubuque, Iowa. Congratulations, 11 years. Keith Gibson, $111.11. Sir Roger on Ice in Tampa, Florida. Richard Force, $111.11 for Sir Roger. Richard Force in Zug, our favorite town in Switzerland.
Oh, yeah, that's where it all happens, where all the cryptos happen.
That's where everything's going on.
Used to be oil, now it's cryptos.
Ella Hamade, I'm guessing.
From Arab Emirates. What does she say here? Happy anniversary. This donation is for 5 reasons. First, to celebrate your anniversary, then to celebrate 3 birthdays. My smoking hot wife on the 17th. She turns 33. My son's second birthday on the 6th. And by the time you read this, my daughter will have been born on the 25th. The 5th reason is I'm planning to become a knight on my 33rd birthday in November 2019, since you called me out as a Lambo owner when I donated for Adam's birthday. Fake news! I'm hoping by then I can have the title of Sir Lambo of the Emirates. Stay safe. Allah Hamade. Thank you very much. That's funny.
Patrick Sullivan in Sturgeon County, Alberta, Canada, $111. These are all $111.11. So I will read them name and location. Patrick Sullivan, Alina Avavare. She's from Holland. So
this is not a Dutch name. She's from Leidschendam.
Leidschendam, another dam.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of water there.
Kevin Thomas in Smyrna, Georgia. Philip Sanders in Ewing, New Jersey. Sir Matthew Januszewski in Chicago. Sir Malinowski in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Stefan Ehret in Fellbach, Deutschland.
Hello, Deutschland. Here's the Hof.
Happy 11 years from Deutschland. Robert Bruckner in Gilbert, Arizona. Black Knight, Sir Brian Barrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's pushing for earldom.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Dave, Baron of Kansas City in Gladstone, Missouri.
And wait. Look at my counting. It says I think I've accrued enough to get my wife's damehood.
Yes.
Even though she rolls her eyes when I talk about the latest things discussed on the best podcast in the universe. I thought about knighting my dog, Charles Bartholomew Fugazotto III, Jr., but figured Adam would put the kibosh on the scheme given his general disdain for anthropomorphism and treating pets as fuzzy humans. Although Charles frequently uses his damn near human cleverness to scheme his way into my chair and trick our other dog into running outside, leaving treats unattended. I digress. Please dub my smoking hot wife Dame Melody Fugazotto at today's ceremony and give her, this is what I have to write down. She needs chitlins and Chardonnay as she takes her seat at the round table. Yes, I'll put that on right now.
And she'll be rolling her eyes.
She's rolling them right now.
Anyway, thanks, Sir Dave. Roy Den Hava in the Netherlands, $111.11. Jeff McReynolds, Heath, Texas. Nicholas Robinson in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Microsoft Word doesn't recognize chitlins.
See how you spelling it?
Chitlins?
Try Chitter. It's spelled chitterlings and pronounced chitlins.
By Jove, you're right. But now I'm going to say chitterlings instead of chitlins.
Well, don't do that. Right, chitlins.
Chitlins it is. Thanks for that. I never knew that. Chitterlings. I didn't know. What are isn't it chicken something? No, guzzards, guts. What is chitlins?
Intestines.
Guts.
Not guts. Well, maybe.
Well, what's guts?
I guess it's kind of guts.
It's guts, man. I can put it in risotto.
And by the way, if you have good, anyone who can make good chitlins or good intestines, or there's a French do them. Everybody does them. They're great.
I'm doing chitlins risotto.
Don't do yourself a favor. So you have to know how to do those things if you're going to do them. Sir Robert, you have to have done them a lot and figured out the tricks. Sir Robert Tennant and Baronet Robert Tennant, bag of 11s, parts unknown. Sir Hank Scorpio of the Electric Grid, Jeffrey Anderson in Stuart, Florida, and Adriana Oporto, parts unknown. Sir Zachary Barron of the Bluff City in Cordova, Tennessee. James Smith in Kelso, Washington. Sir Donald Winkler in Berlin, Deutschland.
James Smith needed a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Good catch. Philip Worth in Myerstown, Pennsylvania. Alexander Beatty, parts unknown. Sir G in Memphis, Tennessee. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Jeremy Dixon in Irving, Texas. Simon Libazuski, I believe. I'm a knight already, Sir Simon. Then, or he's a half knight, Sir. Never mind. You need some recovery karma. We'll put you at the end. There's 73's NC4RG. Oh, that's Robert Gusick.
73's.
It says Robert Gusick.
Gusick, yes. Sir Bob of the dude's name Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Bob of the dude's
name. A special recovery karma for his spinal fusion, which is happening today.
Ow.
Damn.
Jason Jokinen, Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades in Sammamish, Washington. Douglas Kuhlman, parts unknown. Sir Douglas is actually Sir Woldy of the Falls.
Ah, yes.
He says Jerry Jonhocker in Bindlestiff. Benjamin Garcia in Los Angeles, California.
Dude named Ben.
He's a dude named Ben.
Knight of the Help Desk. Yes.
Yeah, Sir Benjamin then. Lamar Martinez. Looks like he's from, I don't know where he's from. Baroness Monica.
Hello, Monica.
Still enjoying the show, she says.
Thank you.
Sir Patrick Coble, our buddy there in Tennessee.
Did you see how much weight he lost? No, that's not Patrick Coble. That's Phone Boy. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of someone else.
Patrick Coble was never that big.
No.
You need some travel and jobs karma. We'll put you at the end.
Patrick Coble has a Ducati.
Sir, he's a dude named Ben. How good can be? He's the guy who's the penetration guy.
Yes, we know him well. You know him better than I do.
Yeah, he comes out here every once in a while to check some systems.
To penetrate.
John Kumar, $111.11. 3 more. Chris Swimley in Austin, Texas, and he's got a douchebag call out for somebody.
Says numero uno, please call out my brother Nick as a douchebag.
Apparently he's been called out several times on the show, and he's yet to donate.
Oh, well, then we don't waste any more douchebagging on him. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, we can't. He's the terminal douchebag, so forget it.
Well, he wants to donate in his name to cleanse him of his douchiness.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
No, that's not a good idea, man. Please promote go ahead.
Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida. She's been a listener since 2014. She's been around for quite a while.
She says she's due for a big title change, but I don't know. Did that happen already? Is that something?
No, we'll wait. She'll tell us what she wants. Okay. Alexander Merkuriev in Nashua, New Hampshire, who says simply happy 11th. Well, I want to thank all these people for helping us there on that 11-11-11 thing. Onward with the rest of our well-wishers is Maria Patricia Lim, $100. Ian Field, $100. Valerie Steensland, $100. Simon Elisha Easternwick, Australia, $100. Ryan Brady, 9009. He's got his jobs karma worked for him. Now he needs some relationship karma. We'll put that at the end for you. Marek Bendakowski in Warsaw, Poland. Nice. He wants to send a shout out to his smoking hot wife, Nina. There you go. Jay Cudicini. Austin, Texas, 8215. Brian Kaufman, 7575. Scottsdale, Arizona. Christopher Trop, not Trope. In Sturgis, Michigan, 5611. Sir Peep Slayer at 5555. Carl Madden, 5555. These are just half of 1111s, I think.
Yes.
Heiko Santima in Houten.
Santima
in Houten. Netherlands.
In Houten.
Santima in Houten. Richard Malloy.
Oh, he does say, will John have his chair de-squeaked before the 12th?
No. You can tell.
Yep.
Like if I get to a certain spot, it really squeaks. Richard Malloy in Greenwich, Connecticut. Sir Starta Bartfast, keeper of the Crinky Bits.
It's Sir Slarta Bartfast, keeper of Crinkly Bits.
Yeah, Hope, Rhode Island. Scott Fuller, 55. Michael Barco, 5280 in Salem, Oregon. Luke Barnes, Salem, Oregon. What? 5280. What's this? Does it say anything about why we have two guys from Salem, Oregon giving the exact same amount?
That's interesting.
That's your random number.
That's very random. Collusion? I think it's collusion.
Brian Burgess in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. $50.33. David Vosen, $50.11. Sir Scott Nelson in Melbourne, Florida, $50.01. The following people are $50 donors, and I give you name and location in some order. Patrick Maycom, Sir Patrick in New York. Philip Allen Gingrich, 50. Carla Kruger. Philip Dumanian in Canton, Michigan. Joe Winky or Vinky, maybe Winky, or Wink in Santa Rosa. Bass Brune. This one I couldn't pronounce in a million years.
Hold on, where are we?
It's number 60.
Boss Brownings, and he says it's Ted Kaiser's birthday. He turns 8. It's my birthday. I turn 39, and Han Kaiser's is a douchebag. We got
on there.
Yeah, we got Boss and Tex on there. Yes.
Alex Delgado and Aptos. Mark Hackett. Jason Van Buskirk in Salem, Oregon. Matt Cheminsky in Hoboken, New Jersey. Michael Kaufman in Hillsboro, Oregon. And by the way, the smoking hot MILF Barb will get her call out.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Kaufman in Hillsboro, Florida. Kenneth Lindeberg in Miami, Florida. Michael Kleckner in Ewing, New Jersey. And last but not least, Stephanie Chodel, or is it Chody? Chodel. Former member of the MSM. Oh, this is interesting. She's a former member of the MSM. She used to work at Reuters and CNN. I totally get what you're saying and applaud you for having the guts to say it. You've helped me as I continue to labor my way in media land, and I wish I could give you more.
Oh, well, send us a note from time to time, Stephanie. Let us know what's happening.
Yeah, it won't hurt.
Yeah, if you still touch base with the M5Mers. I
think she's probably still working in the business.
Yeah.
Want to thank all these folks for supporting us in the 11th anniversary show, and these people helped produce the show, along with a lot of people that gave $49.99 and less, 33 and all the rest, which of course are kept anonymous.
Yeah, also a lot of people
by rule.
Yes, by rule, and a lot of people congratulate us at the 11.11 level as well, $11.11.
That's nice.
Yes, we got some astral travel and DMT wishes, all kinds of good stuff under the 50 level. But we keep those, we do not mention them, as John said, mainly for anonymity, because that's where you go if you don't want to be mentioned on the show. And the subscriptions, keep those going. And thank you. Thank everybody for 11 years. It's a value for value concept. I remember fondly, I think it was, when did we start asking for, or really start the value for value model? Was that the second year, first year?
I think it was
started early on.
I think it was late in the first
earnest.
year.
In earnest, I think.
In earnest, it was always in earnest. It wasn't with any.
We hadn't developed the value for value model.
That was the problem.
We hadn't figured out what the value for value network and how the model works. We were creating that on the fly. I remember I was in New York on a business trip, and you said, "Hey, I think this is working. People actually, like it, and they're supporting it." And I think that's when I said, "Okay, let's do this full time." I think that's when I ate my airplane.
I believe you're creating new histories. It's a good story.
What do you mean, new history?
Yeah,
the eating the airplane.
No, the eating the airplane was true because we weren't doing that well. For some reason,
it took years. It took years.
Well, yeah, it took probably 2 years. You ate the airplane for a lot of different reasons. You're also slightly paranoid at the time.
No, I didn't have the money. I'd left Mevio. I was living in Los Angeles. They were paying for health care. That's all I was getting from them.
Yeah, well.
So I ate the airplane. And that lasted. It was tasty. Flaps, not so much.
No, the flaps are always you have to really sauce those up.
And the point is, this is a network where everybody can get out, and you should be getting more out of it than you put into it. So it could be just the pleasure of listening to the show, meeting other people with our meetups, but also collaborating online. There's so many different websites and services, microservices that people have set up, from the art generator to there's just so. What is the Gitmo? What is the main list? I keep forgetting what it is. It's the Gitmo list. I think it's called the Gitmo list. The No Agenda Gitmo list. If you find that, you'll see links to the book club. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. And I'm really proud of what everyone has put together and really appreciate it. And I look forward to as long as, another 11 years. Sure, we'll go as long as we physically can, I guess.
And probably another 11 years before you ever do your Austin meetup.
Hey, thanks, John.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. Yay!
You got karma.
This night, Mark me. I want to see if Willow sends me some cheese for that.
Man, you interrupted the whole flow just to get some free cheese. You are the worst.
When it comes to cheese,
it's your birthday. Oh, no agenda.
And here is your birthday list for our celebratory 11th anniversary show. Today is the 25th of October, 2018. Ala Hamade says happy birthday to his smoking hot wife, Maisa. She turns 33 on November 17th, and his son, Jad, will turn 2 on the 6th of November. Happy birthday. Boss Browning says happy birthday to Ted Kaiser's turning 8, and Boss Brownings himself is turning 39. We congratulate him. And Mark Hackett says happy birthday to his smoking hot MILF Barb. She celebrated October 19th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Now we have nightings.
I'm remiss.
Okay.
One of our artists, Ryan, is like having his birthday.
Which Ryan?
The good one. I don't have to remember his last name. Man, I can't remember his name. I just sent a note to him about his birthday.
Well, why don't you look it up, and then I'll get the nighting started, and then you can mention that later.
I feel bad now.
Instead of just stopping the whole flow of the show.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is my theme today.
Can you find your sword anywhere?
Oh, now you got me. Okay, here it is. I got it. Luckily, it's right here.
Thank you. All right, time for some nightings and a daming. Here's what we need up on the podium. We need Troy Thomas, Thomas Wolfarth, Melody Fugazzato, Brad Lafreniere. Oh, that's actually, yes, Brad Lafreniere. All 4 of you up here on the podium, as I'm very proud to introduce you and induct you into the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames, and I hereby pronounce-icate thee Sir Thomas, Knight of the River Mark, Sir Puck of Western North Carolina, Dame Melody Fugazzato, Sir Bradley Black Knight and Protector of the Outer Cyber Realm. For you, hookers and blow, we have Chitlins and Chardonnay. I didn't have any more time in the music to talk about the sparkling cider and escorts, the ginger ale and gerbils, the breast milk and pablum, the Rubenesque women and rosé, and, of course, the mutton and mead. That is all available for you at the round table if you go to noagendanation.com/rings. Eric the Shield will take your girth measurements and we'll get the ring, your sealing wax, your certificate out to you as soon as possible. And please tweet something out so everybody can see how proud you are and how proud all of us are of you becoming a knight or a dame of the No Agenda Roundtable.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
Here's the changes. Sir Bong Hits and Bourbon becomes Sir Pass Knight of Sun City, as Sir Bruce becomes a baronet, and Sir John of London also achieving baronet status today. Congratulations to all of you, and for your support of the No Agenda Show. Did you figure out the Ryan's birthday?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. It's not Ryan anything. It's Mike Riley, one of our top guys, our cartoonist, the guy who did the bone saw.
Yes, Mike Riley.
He's going to be 43.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mike. On when is it going to be? It's like I think it was Monday.
Okay. Well, good.
So give this more personalized this way, I guess.
Hey, there was Tim Collins from Apple. You know, Tom Cook. He was in Brussels on a very stupid day. Actually, he was there to talk about privacy. And the internet and privacy. And it was a very stupid day for him to be there because all of they have the European Parliament in Brussels and they have the other one in Strasbourg.
Right, they're moving back and forth.
Right, so he went to Brussels while everybody was voting in Strasbourg. I mean, someone needs to get fired over that.
Somebody needs to do some research here. What his assistant did.
Really stupid. I pulled a clip.
So who did he talk to? An empty hall?
Nah, there was probably about 300 people there, if that. No, less. I'd say maybe 150. It was very pathetic. His message was clear, and I liked what he said, and it sounded like a man who was very frustrated with what is being done with his product as well. He had some good zingers in there. I clipped about 2 minutes of it. I'd like to share.
The desire to put profits over privacy is nothing new. As far back as 1890,
hello, Google.
Future Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis published an article in the Harvard Law Review making the case for a right to privacy in the United States. He warned, gossip is no longer the resource of the idle and of the vicious, but has become a trade. Today, that trade has exploded into a data industrial complex. Our own information, from the everyday to the deeply personal, is being weaponized against us with military efficiency. Mm-hmm. Every day, billions of dollars change hands and countless decisions are made on the basis of our likes and dislikes, our friends and families, our relationships and conversations, our wishes and fears, our hopes and dreams. These scraps of data, each one harmless enough on its own, are carefully assembled, synthesized, traded, and sold. Taken to its extreme, this process creates an enduring digital profile and lets companies know you better than you may know yourself. Your profile is then run through algorithms that serve up increasingly extreme content, pounding our harmless preferences into hardened convictions.
Here it comes.
If green is your favorite color, you may find yourself reading a lot of articles or watching a lot of videos about the insidious threat from people who like orange. In the news, almost every day, we bear witness to the harmful, even deadly effects of these narrowed worldviews. We shouldn't sugarcoat the consequences. This is surveillance. And these stockpiles of personal data serve only to enrich the companies that collect them.
Now, First, I need to mention that was twice as long. I cut out every pause that he puts in his speech. This guy needs a kick in the pants. Like, stop talking like this. It's boring.
Well, when it's edited out like that, it sounds very free-flowing and professional.
It must be 20 edits. Just chopping out silence everywhere. So, of course, he is advocating for what I've been saying a long time, is you need to go OTG. And the main thing you can do to save yourself from this tracking is remove location-based tracking from your life. And I'm not talking about the cell company being able to track my little sorry Nokia E71, because of course they can do that. But everything else inside your phone, which is what he's so I think he sees the writing on the wall. Like, people are going to start giving this up. We see more and more of these, hey, it's a weekend thing, take this phone just as text. And, he's seeing his product being abused. But, of course, it's meant to be abused. That's what it is. He's got an abusive product with his mobile devices. And I do like the data industrial complex, although I think data is the new bacon is better, but it's a little scarier that way. And just to fold into a quick OTG, a couple headlines. Amazon's Alexa they filed a patent, and the patent specifically states that the Alexa spy device in your house, if it hears you coughing or sniffling, it may be able to sell you some ads for what is ailing you. And they filed a patent for that. I guess that was necessary. This was a pretty interesting story about this. And I've seen this. This was actually at HEB, and I remember looking at it once. I need to pick up a thermometer, and Tina and I moved in together, and we didn't have one for some reason. I don't know. We didn't have a thermometer amongst us. So there's this connected thermometer. Turns out the connected thermometer was licensing information. This is Kinsa, is the name of the connected thermometer company, to pharmaceutical companies with zip codes and temperatures that people had around the country so that they could target their advertising by. Oh, it looks like we got... Yeah?
I'm wondering why anyone would buy a connected thermometer.
Because you get an app with it, and then they think, oh, it's great, I can track the progress of my fever. I don't know, people are idiots. So you get that, but in the meantime, the app itself is just backdooring stuff to pharmaceuticals to sell you stuff and target you with ads. Now it turns out, this is a great one, General Motors, according to the Detroit Free Press, their radio tracking program monitored the listening habits of 90,000 drivers in Los Angeles and Chicago for 3 months in late 2017. GM captured details such as station selection, volume level, zip codes of vehicle owners, used the car's built-in Wi-Fi signal to upload the data to its servers. This is insane. And they're selling that. Why
don't they sell the data to Nielsen?
Well, they're selling it to the radio networks themselves.
Oh, God.
And then what else I had? Oh, and let's see. What else did I have? There's a couple other stories. Also, I don't have it, of course. I don't have an app phone. But the new Google News for Android is going wild on data. And people are seeing up to 21 gigs of data transferred from the Google News app. Who knows what it's doing? This is not good. This is all bad stuff.
Hey, it's great, man.
You should not have any of this.
I get advertising that's custom made for me. I like the idea that I get an ad
that's relevant. It's relevant. Relevant to me. Relevant. So our Scandinavian brothers and sisters just got a raw deal up there up north. As there were 4 provinces who voted against a carbon tax. Of course, why would you want to be taxed for something that comes out of your? Although
I should mention that in the Washington State ballot, there's a carbon tax initiative on there, and according to Mimi, who's involved in the politics,
it'll pass.
Is all for it. And apparently, the argument of the old ladies is, well, yeah, it's not that great, but at least it's something.
So they've done something. Trudeau has done something very interesting. And I'm sure we'll get lots of notes from our Scandinavian producers. So these four major provinces said, no, we're not going to do a carbon tax. So Trudeau just created a federal carbon tax, but he's trying to sell it. Well, listen to how he's trying to sell it.
In Toronto today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau laid out the details of his government's carbon tax plan, including rebates, as he tries to sell Canadians on the need to pay for pollution without breaking the bank. We take you to Ottawa now. Michelle Boyer.
Notice the use of pollution. It's not pollution.
Following the story for us. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit more about the plan anyway, and how much money he's talking about in terms of giving back to Canadians.
Yeah, April. That is when this plan comes into effect for large polluters as well as you when you go to fill up your gas tank or when you turn on the heat. It's going to cost Canadians more, but the federal government is coming up with a plan to make sure that you get most, if not all, or more of the money back. We're talking about rebates from $259 all the way up to $609 per year. And those numbers balloon as we go down the road to 2022. That's because the cost on carbon, the price on carbon, will be going from $20 up to $50 a ton. Justin Trudeau says, listen, this is the only way.
Hey, by the way, that's 50 Canadian dollars. No, the price of carbon we've known for a long time, it has been pegged by the globalists at 50 US dollars. So to say you're going to raise it to 50 Canadian dollars, it's got to be a little higher than that.
Up to $50 a ton. Justin Trudeau says, listen, this is the only way that Canada will reduce its carbon footprint, will reduce its emissions. And he says that he's helping Canadians adjust to the new norm by giving them the money back.
It's completely idiotic. He's saying, we're going to have a carbon tax, and it'll be on, all fossil fuels, and so that will be at the gas pump, and your electricity is all going to be taxed. But we're going to give you a credit back based upon what we think that increase will be. And he's positioning it as, don't worry, you just get the money back. And then somehow that's going to reduce climate change. This is insane. No, I don't know if it's insane.
I don't know what the Canadians must be thinking. This guy's an idiot.
There should be a revolution about this, a revolt.
Yeah, how about voting that idiot out of office?
Oh, my goodness.
He's like a 12-year-old running the place. People bitch about Trump.
I got a cool little operation.
Which is we're talking about this, I do have a thing here. This is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This, I believe, I heard it. I said, that's interesting. Apparently, a Lexus is the best car you can buy. Yeah, everyone knows that. But the way they present this fact Consumer Reports thing on CBS, I think that CBS is pulling out native ads on us in ways that I have not been able to pick up on. That ABC is real easy. It said this always at the same time of the show. It's right there, and it sounds like a native ad. It looks like a native ad. This one actually I pulled it out just as kind of a joke clip, and then I listened to it. And I said, this is a native ad, and I wasn't catching it. I think CBS is doing native advertising on their news hour with Jeff Glor more than we think.
Jonathan Lincove tests cars for a living. He's in the driver's seat for Consumer Reports, determining which automakers are the most reliable.
And how critical is reliability when it comes to an automaker's long-term success or a model's success?
Reliability is the key thing that's going to keep a customer coming back.
Consumer Reports' annual reliability survey collected data on everything from the engine and transmission to the doors and electronics. 29 automakers were ranked, and U.S. companies didn't fare well. Ford was the top American brand at number 18. Asian manufacturers did the best. Toyota came in second, and Lexus, which is owned by Toyota, took the number 1 spot. We took a spin in a Lexus RX 350.
Consistently, Toyota and Lexus have been our top 2 brands in our brand report card.
Problems with infotainment systems tripped up other automakers, including Volvo, which landed at the bottom of the list.
Their large infotainment system has caused problems. It's crashed, it's hung, it's had a reset on owners.
Tesla dropped 6 spots to 27th this year.
If you look at the Gee Whiz factor, it's got what
Lynn Cove had problems getting the wing doors to open on the Model X SUV, which scored poorly.
That's a big problem that we've seen. They're not always working, they're not latching, they're not opening up all the way.
Lynn Cove says reliability is just one consideration when purchasing a new car. Performance and price should also factor into the final decision. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Colchester, Connecticut.
So let me try and deconstruct it. The way the ad buy goes is Consumer Reports, which is a non-commercial entity, is they do a report. They have the car up in the position that the Lexus wants it, and then they buy the CBS analysis of the report.
You think it's that way? Because I would think it's different.
Okay.
I would think that the CBS sales guys, and this, it could be.
Who, by the way, wear brown shoes.
Brown shoes don't make it.
Brown shoe sales guys always brown shoes.
So he's got the brown shoe sales guy. He's got the consumer, because they're always having these meetings. I know people that are professional high-end salespeople, and they're always having these meetings that are, how can we leverage this into that? How can we get these guys on board for a big buy? And I would think it'd go this way, and I could be wrong, but because any number of ways it could happen. You got look at the Consumer Report thing. It's got Lexus and Toyota. It's the same company. Can we sell them? We're not going to do a story on this, are we, Jeff? No. Who's going to do a story on that? It's stupid. Okay, let's go to Lexus and see if we can sell them that. We'll do a story highlighting the Consumer Reports article, and we'll mention them like lots and drive their car around.
It's similar, yeah.
I think that would be the way to sell it. And I think Lexus and Toyota is very aggressive at advertising. And they say, yeah, it sounds great. Can you also mention that Volvo's like the lousiest one on this list? And because the two cars they slammed, by the way.
The Tesla?
They specifically slammed was not just any old Tesla. It was the Tesla SUV.
Oh, yeah.
And the Volvo they slammed was a Volvo SUV. And the car they drove around in was a Lexus SUV.
Yeah. And you're surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised I haven't caught this earlier. I know they must be doing this constantly.
Yeah. Hey, I haven't. I caught something that I just want, and I'd have a couple of funny hate Trump clips just to end on a high note. We've been looking at the Congo, the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. What is going on there? Why do we have? Why are people being sent there? Why do we have all kinds of stuff going on? For some reason, I follow tankertrackers.com.
Yeah, where's our economic hitman?
Well, check this out. So I got into this when I got into APRS and the ham radio beaconing systems, although APRS is for much more than beaconing. So you have the AIS, and you can track ships. And so tankertrackers.com posted this. When did they post this? It was earlier this month. So here it is. A first. 850,000 barrels of crude oil arrived in Ashkelon, that's Israel, this morning from Jano, Congo. We have never seen Congo as a source of oil for Israel before, but we have seen a couple of shipments come in from West Africa during the summer. How about that? 850,000 barrels is a good start.
It's a good medium-sized tanker.
So they're taking that from, and Israel's buying this.
So the Congo's landlocked, if I'm not mistaken. How are they getting it to the port?
They're taking it down. Well, there's a picture here, actually. They take it down to. Well, no, that's not true. They have to go to Gabon. Or was it? Can't see it here. It's from the West Coast. And they go all the way around the top of Africa through the Straits of Gibraltar, through the Mediterranean to get to Israel. Circumventing, of course, the Djibouti, the Aden Gulf, and where all that crap is going down. So they're going. So it's just probably a less dangerous route for them. I don't know about pirates, but they're taking it right through. Yeah, right off the southwest coast, and they're going all the way around the top.
I didn't know. So Congo's an oil producer?
Apparently.
We got to look into this.
Well, I brought it up as a mention as, hey, this is where we need to focus our attention. Yes, and Ebola there. Send lots of people there to help with, I don't know, the transport of the oil to the coast. Who knows?
Get it out of there before the oil catches Ebola.
All right, a couple media clips to hate Trump. This was a news story you heard about.
When it comes to eggs...
Oops, not that one.
Good afternoon. A Florida man is facing federal charges accused of groping a woman on a flight to Albuquerque. As he was being arrested, he had something interesting to say about the president. News 13's Rachel Knapp is live in the Newsplex with the story.
Kim, an FBI agent says as Bruce Alexander was sitting in the back of his police car, he told them, quote, the president of the United States says it's okay to grab women by their private parts.
Okay. That was a great news story. Sounds totally legit. Here we have the Lear Hollywood Foundation at work in the Supergirl television show. This is for children. And let me see, this is season 3, I believe. You are in season 3. This is so Supergirl, and this is in the cartoon. This is the spokesperson for the president of the United States of America, and the president is a woman. And here's what the spokesperson, the Sarah Huckabee Sanders of the future in Supergirl world, when the president is female.
Okay, Carl.
Does President Marsden believe climate change is real?
Yes. Yes, Carl. As a matter of fact, she does. She also believes that 2 + 2 = 4 and that the Earth is round because the president is not a moron. Any third grader knows that global warming is the biggest threat of our time, and I'm happy to report that the intellectual capacity of our president is not inferior to that of an 8-year-old. Next question.
It's reverse. It's a great way to program the children.
That is disgusting.
Isn't that fantastic?
I'll give you a clip of the day for that one.
I have to say, when I heard it, and I didn't find it myself, one of our producers did, I said, it's a candidate. Thank you very much.
Clip of the day.
Well, thanks to the producer who found it.
Yes.
Wow. That is a piece of crap if I've ever heard. A propagandistic. It makes my analysis of Damie Goodman look like a lightweight.
Let's do it. Let's play it again just so we can revel in it.
Okay, Carl.
Does President Marsden believe climate change is real?
Yes. Yes, Carl. As a matter of fact, she does. She also believes that 2 + 2 = 4 and that the Earth is round because the president is not a moron. Any third grader knows that global warming is the biggest threat of our time, and I'm happy to report that the intellectual capacity of our president is not inferior to that of an 8-year-old. Next question.
You will obey. Oh, man, I love that. Then, although I am not pulling the clip that everyone showed, Rosie O'Donnell was on MSNBC on the Hate Fest with Nicole Wallace, and I pulled 2 clips just to let you know where her head's at. And you have to understand that in this interview, she was very affected by the election of President Trump. She couldn't go out in public. Well, first she said she got physically ill. She puked when he became president. And she couldn't go out in the public for over a year. Now she's marrying a 32-year-old woman who looks like an Instagram wife if I've ever seen one. But she's still filled with a lot of hate and misinformation.
The president not only thought that it was strategically smart to go after the adult film star Stormy Daniels in such a visceral way, he workshopped the insult prior to tweeting it. Well before Trump mocked Daniels' physical appearance, he trial ballooned the horse-face dig privately among White House aides, close friends, and acquaintances. One source close to Trump even recalled him saying in passing, that bleeping horse-face. Steve, Rosie, and Eugene are still here. I read these things and I'm shocked, but I'm guessing you are not.
I'm not shocked. No, he'll do anything and everything to get what he wants, and women are of no value to him in his life or world. The only one who is, I think, is his daughter. That's it. The rest of the women in the world are useless as the immigrants that he says are coming from, Honduras to take us in caravans. Watch out for the caravan. There are people walking away from certain death in third world countries, right? The man doesn't care at all. So what he did to Stormy Daniels was horrific. What he did to me was horrific. But I expected when that was happening, the National Organization of Women or something would come out and say, you can't do this. You're not just allowed to pick a woman, lie, and just debase her with impunity. But he is. Mm-hmm. He is, and he gets laughs for it. And it's like a bad stand-up comedy.
Well, she's right about that, about the stand-up comedy. But do we have that on the rotation? He hates women? I didn't know he hated women.
Oh,
I don't think it's on the rotation. I don't think it. Now she makes it.
No, misogynist is hating women.
Okay.
This is the rotation.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Just by definition, misogynist hates women.
This is okay. Here, this is another assertion she makes, which I found interesting.
I want to ask you, because this question goes around questions of race. We talked about this after Charlottesville, that now the KKK, you've talked about this, the KKK members don't wear sheets over their face. The Trump effect.
So I just want to understand what Nicole Wallace is saying here. She's saying that Trump is so racist. He's such a white nationalist. The Trump effect has now brought it to this moment in time where Ku Klux Klan members feel so emboldened they're not wearing the sheets anymore. This is very interesting because KKK members were easy to identify. You could see the guiding light of the burning cross, and they were all there in their white hoods, in their sheets. Now she's saying the Klan exists, and they're everywhere. You can't see them because they've been emboldened by the Trump effect. They're not wearing the sheets anymore.
Oh, I get it.
This is
pretty
really
good. I like it as a concept.
Yeah.
The KKK, you've talked about this. The KKK members don't wear sheets over their face. The Trump effect is that people are out of the closet with their misogyny. They're out of the closet with their racism.
Nice that she's saying out of the closet in front of Rosie.
Do you see that? I mean, I see that as potentially the most corrosive impact.
Yes. I think it's really true. I was in the street the other day and some guy saw me with my new haircut and goes, "Hey, you look like a dyke."
Oh, must have been a KKK member.
I was like, to my face, right? I thought the same thing, the coarsening of the culture. In my whole career as a gay woman.
You miss when people trashed you behind your back, you know,
right? Nobody would ever come up to you and say something to your face, right? But the culture now is such that this is what's happening.
Yes, and that's the online Twitter culture. You're right. She's right about that. People would never say that to your face, although and
what's it got to do with Trump?
Nothing. It's the Trump effect. It's the Trump effect. People have no scruples. They're mean. They're rude. They say horrible things to your face. Whereas Rosie O'Donnell, who I helped with her career, she auditioned for VH1. She was doing Rascals in New Jersey at the Rascals Comedy Club. That was the level of where she was. Well, it's not too bad, by the way, but still, it was Rascals, and she wasn't on the national stage. And Steve Leeds had brought her in and I did a segment with her, and that was part of her audition. And then I went to Rascals to see her stand up, and she slammed me. She's like, "Oh, Adam Curry's here." The guy who has Mattel stamped on his ass. Oh.
What is that supposed to mean?
She felt I looked like a Malibu Ken or something. I don't know.
But what's she doing that for? You said you helped her.
Yeah. That was the day I stopped liking her.
Douchebag. Let's face it.
She's a douche. Yeah. But it does bring me to my final clip. Remember, I was saying that it seems like language, like people are saying things more, like I think it really it got into television with Shithole Nation, and that's still repeated. But there's a lot of fuck going on. Robert De Niro, fuck this, fuck Trump. Kathy Griffin, fuck Trump mugs. Everyone's F, everything.
Yeah. I think that's the podcasting influence.
No, I think it's a barrier that people have broken through. And
back in Berkeley in the olden days, during the free speech movement, near its as it was waning and they were going to other things, there was a moment that was called the filthy speech movement. And old timers will remember this.
I had never heard of this.
Oh yeah, it's not as well documented, but I think you can find articles about it. And it was just because free speech was FSM, and so you could use the same signage. It was a method of conserving resources. So you could still use FSM signage for the filthy speech movement, and it consisted of a lot of public cursing.
And
it was we don't need to be told what to say or how to say it. And I think that's really the moment where they were using saying fuck or anything pretty much, or just sounding uneducated became a thing of the educated class. The elites, the liberals, they all became potty mouths,
really,
as it were. And it went on for about 3 or 4 years until it kind of died off too.
Well, it's
the filthy speech movement. You can check it out.
I will look that up. It's creeping into our advertising. I've cut this down. This was a minute and a half, a 90-second commercial And this is from I'm sure the Egg Council has something to do with it. This is, well, just listen to it. And the bleeps are in the commercial.
When it comes to eggs, there's a whole lot of clucking that doesn't really mean much of anything. Other farms boast about being cage-free. Well, here at Vital Farms, our pasture-raised eggs are bullshit-free. How do we keep the bull away from our eggs? It's simple. We give our hens some space. A lot of it. Our ladies, they're raised in an actual pasture, in the sunshine. Here at Vital Farms, we care that our hens get to be hens and do hen things, like whatever that is, and laying nutritious eggs that are naturally bull-free. But you don't have to take my word for it.
Cage-free? Oh, I've been eating up that bullshit for years. I fed that bullshit to my loved ones. But with Vital Farms, my recipes are more popular than ever.
That's good. When a restaurant serves Vital Farms eggs, it makes the hens happy and it makes my girls happy. Because brunch is too short for bull. Right, Allison? What? Mm-hmm.
Serious chefs have been using Vital Farms eggs for years. Because the reality of cage-free is, it's all, pardon my French, connery. Y'all know what that means?
No, chef.
Bull.
Well, I don't know a lot about French, but I know a lot about pasture-raised and how it gives hens space and sunshine, unlike cage-free. Because when you crack into a Vital Farms egg, we want you to be absolutely confident that what you're eating is 100% bullshit-free.
How can this be? I mean, it's not like we don't know what they're saying.
I think it's a tasteless ad.
Yes.
And probably their eggs are tasteless, too, to be honest about it.
You're probably right. Bullshit eggs. Exactly. Huh. All right, well, I'd like to wrap up this 11th anniversary episode. If you want to play us out with something, I give you.
Well, do I have anything good?
I don't know. For 11 years, I've never listened to your clips when you sent them in. I only hear them on the show. I have no idea what your clips are.
I got a Feinstein. Oh well, yeah. Let's play this. This is from 1994. This is going around the net right now.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm sure.
This is Dianne Feinstein going on and on about border enforcement.
You have to concentrate on saying the people who should be here are those who come legally at this time. And we've got to, for the time being, enforce our borders. The day when America, the welfare system for Mexico, is gone. We simply can't afford it. And I think you've seen the figures to state and local governments of what the cost is. It's over $2 billion.
I think we should enforce our borders. To have a situation where 40% of the babies born on Medicaid in California today are born of illegal immigrants creates a very real problem for the state, which is in deficit.
Look, of course you can enforce the borders.
Let me finish.
I agree.
To have 17% of our prison population at a cost of $300 million a year be illegal immigrants who come here and commit felonies. That's not what this nation is all about.
Very simple. They've been enforce our border.
Yes. My, how their tune changes when the color orange comes into play.
Yeah, Orange Man Bad.
OrangeManBad.exe. All right, John, congratulations with 11 years.
Well, congratulations on hanging in there for 11 years, too, because I remember show 100.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on the Grimerica show.
I was ready to quit.
But it wasn't because you were sick of it. Or you were ready to quit because you thought we had a good run.
Yes, it's been a good run, John. Let's quit while we're ahead. I just am shuddering to think about what might have become of me if we had stopped it. I
don't know.
It's not a pretty sight. No. In advance, I will thank Tom Starkweather, Dave Corbanow, for. And I think we have a secret agent.
Is Starkweather in the chat room?
No, I don't think so. But you can email him. Coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6, on the governmental maps. Boiling water in the 5x9 Cludio and the common law condo in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm not wearing blackface and I never will, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday for episode 1081 into our 11th year. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until Sunday, adios, mofos!
Donate to a No Agenda. They give ushers week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11,
It's a mess. It's a complete and utter mess.
I get the biggest kick out of these Brits who go, oh my God, we're going to have to do our own trade deals. We're going to have this is the great British Empire ruling the world from sunset to sunrise. Now they're freaked out because they can't do a simple deal. Sell some nuts and bolts to somebody, some jam to the United States, some Cadbury's.
Now this may be the last time, or maybe it'll be one more year where we have daylight saving time in the European Union, as there's now a serious discussion in the European Union Parliament to let each of the 28 member states, which used to be known as countries, but now they're member states, to decide their own time. Mind-boggling.
Hey, we give you guys a lot of freedom.
So it's either, hey, let's make them think they're really in control of something by letting them decide whether they move their clock or not, or this is the death knell. Chaos is coming.
Well, the joke is that this is the sort of thing that you'd want the European Union to standardize. Not everything else, like how many feathers should be in a pillow.
Exactly. But no, we're going to give you guys power. Here you go, member states. Determine your own time, slaves.
Yeah, it's an insult. Does nobody see this?
No, they see it as positive. Oh, great. This is the way the EU should work. We have sovereignty over our own clocks. Take this, you peasants. There's no other way to see it. Right?
It's befuddling.
Yeah. No, I know.
All right. What else we got?
Oh, I got lots of stuff. I got lots of. Well,
I got Ebola.
I was listening to a podcast.
The best ever.
The No Agenda Show.
The beauty is in the mix. It's stunning in its detail.
It's a great day.
Open your mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Serious arguments and propaganda.
Don't take anything too seriously in life. Data is the new bacon.
The White House says there is no agenda.
How certain are you about what you believe you hear on
No Agenda in the Morning?
Well, dogs are people too.
Hey, what is this? He's grepping.
He's grepping a lot.
Why are you all dressed up? Who are you trying to impress? You trying to get somebody in trouble? It's club material.
Are you drumming again, or are you bongoing?
Tail fitting.
one of the reasons why I lost my job.
That could cost jobs. Jobs.
Ants.
Any collusion?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can just listen to the show and your muscles grow.
It'll just grow.
It is over.
My millennials, stay woke.
No Agenda in the Morning.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Stop the hammering!